Honorable Senators, when we adjourned or suspended the last sitting, we were in order number 10. You can see why I was calling it suspension is because the order paper remains 1, but we'll adjust things. Don't worry about that. The motion on alteration of the Senate calendar for the 5th session, the mover had already completed moving, and the seconder just started. Yet he only seconded for 4 minutes, so he has his 26 minutes. So the Senate Minority Leader, Senator Orengo, the time is yours.
Madam Speaker, I keep on confusing. Madam Speaker, let me try to get to the point and say the following on top of what I said in the morning. An impression should not be created that the Speaker can read a communication which is binding on the House. Madam Speaker, I wanted you to hear me because I think I'm making an important point for the chair. Madam Speaker, I was saying that if you read and listened to the communication of the Speaker this morning, I was extremely uncomfortable with it because elements of it was like it was giving a directive to the House. And the Speaker powers are very limited. The House makes decisions and resolutions in plenary. And therefore, to the extent that, Madam Speaker, the Speaker was saying that there will be no further meetings of committees, virtually or otherwise, I think without approval of the House, those directives must be subject to the resolution of this House. I'm just saying this because we have come from a moment whereby the executive was seen to be directing the activities of the House. And Madam Speaker, the nature of Parliament is very different from the executive or the courts. The executive can make a resolution by the president making a decision. And while we go on recess, the president can make any decision that is justified to make under the law. When Senate or Parliament is on recess or is not sitting, we have no way of making a resolution. No way of making a resolution. And going by the history of this country, whenever Parliament is not in session, that's when terrible things tend to happen. So I want us to bear that in mind. And knowing that around this COVID activity, there are issues of KEMSA which have not been resolved up to now. And we don't know what will happen when we are out. there will be a second KEMSA. So, so to that extent, I think we cannot direct from the chair that committees cannot meet or Parliament cannot meet. But what will happen is that if the Speaker's directives finds favor with this plenary, then that can happen. Madam Speaker, I'm also saying this from the point of view of the fact that from last year, the President has given 15 addresses on the question of COVID. And Madam Speaker, this third wave is so critical and so serious that I thought that when he was calling for this or trying to persuade the other arms of government that we should go on recess for a little while, that he'll talk about the status of the many directives he made regarding the pandemic. And Madam Speaker, despite the fact that this virus and the pandemic has become more serious, some of the mitigating decisions and resolutions that and direction the President had given, some of them have been recalled. Many have been recalled, like the tax measures, including VAT. Some of those have been recalled. So I had hoped, Madam Speaker, that the resolution by the executive in this regard, that we should have a lockdown, it should be accompanied by measures like the one that the President has mentioned over the last 1 year to mitigate the circumstances of those who are in need and in pain. And Madam Speaker, that has not been done. I could have gone through one by one, but there were so many measures taken, including taking our allowances, part of our allowances, to buy masks and other things. But I don't know what happened to, to the money that was taken. No report has been given to us that the money that we gave, did it buy masks and the like. So, Madam Speaker, to that extent, I think this time around, it has not been well thought through, and therefore, there should be a lot more thinking. And I think the Kasanga and Sakaja process, together with the Health Committee, should get together with the executive so that whatever they are doing should have some legal foundation and the support of Parliament. But having said that, Madam Speaker, I am hoping that when we finally resolve this motion, that there will be some amendment to the extent that there should not be an absolute directive that we cannot sit even in the intervening period. And committees, I think, are so important. When Parliament, this plenary is not sitting, then committees must function, because the executive is functioning. Where the cabinet is not meeting, but there are elements in the executive that are functioning. But in absolute terms, I think it is important that we resolve to change our calendar, because this pandemic is serious. And I was talking about people that I know that, as I sat in the house in the morning, have left us. Now, this afternoon, between the time we left, I've had 5 more people that I know that have left us, including people that are very well known to members in this house. So I think we should not take this thing for granted. We should not take it for granted. And even amongst us, you know, you may never know. Some of these tests, they can never be accurate. You may think that you are, you are negative, while essentially you are not. Or you can still pass the virus. So I would encourage that if you want to meet on a weekly basis, then let us have weekly tests, like they do in the Congress in the United States. Every week that they are meeting, they do the test. Is mandatory. So that on Monday, before you come here on Tuesday, you come with the certificate. If that can happen, then we can go on. But the way we are, I cannot be able to protect my son here, Mutula Jr., and I want God to give you a long life, because you are such an important man in my, in every way. And I'm saying it from the bottom of my heart. And because he sits next to me, I don't want one day people to think that I passed this virus to this young man who has many days to go and be in this house for as long as I have been for those many years. So, Madam Speaker, I would really plead that Senator Ochilo and Senator Olekina have shown me the amendment that they possibly will require the House to make to this motion. And I would agree with that. But otherwise, I plead with you, Madam Speaker, if we're required to meet once every week or twice every week, then we should take a test every week. And I think that is completely feasible so that we are all safe. And you are your brother's keeper, your sister's keeper. And we are all responsible for the safety and well-being of each other. Finally, I was very happy when the Speaker said that when they went to State House, they were requested and urged. They were not ordered. And to that extent, that's why we have this motion. Nobody is ordering us to stay away or to go away. But the judiciary has taken a decision. Right now, if you are filing a case in the court, one judge sitting alone has to certify that it is urgent before you can be heard virtually. But as we are taking the risk of meeting all of us, I think this is playing too much with the hand of fate. And politicians now have been described as the super spreaders. I was listening to the sermon by a priest who was condemning politicians. Happily for me, when he was condemning us, behind him there were several people who were not wearing masks. So I said the priest also was a super spreader without knowing. Having said all that, Madam Speaker, I do support. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Honorable Senators, I would now like to propose the motion that notwithstanding the resolutions of the Senate made on the 16th February 2021, which was the approval of the Senate calendar, and on 24th March 2021, alteration of the Senate calendar, pursuant to Standing Order 29-4, the Senate resolves to further alter the same calendar on the regular sessions of the Senate in respect of Part 2, so as to adjourn on Tuesday, 30th March 2021, and to resume sittings on Tuesday, 11th May 2021, in accordance with the resolutions made on 24th March 2021, and that pursuant to Standing Order 31-3A and B, the morning sitting of Tuesday, 30th March 2021 be held until conclusion of business appearing on the order paper. Senator George Aniri.
Madam Speaker, I want to thank you for the opportunity, and let me state from the outset that I rise to vehemently oppose this motion. Madam Speaker, even as we oppose the motion, or we take the stand that we are taking, allow me to take this opportunity to hail the President for the effort that he's putting in the fight against COVID-19. If there is one area that President Uhuru has done well, it is the fight against COVID. And I think he must be supported by all and sundry, and by all the arms of the government. Madam Speaker, COVID is a real threat to extinction of our being here on this world, and we must take it serious. We must ensure that we adhere to the protocols that have been put in place for us to survive. It is real, it has gotten to our doorsteps. We used to read about it We used to look at the statistics on television and read in the newspapers, but now it is with us in our households. We are losing relatives every day, we are losing friends, we are losing people that we know. And therefore, we must support the president in that fight. And we are glad that he is acting on advice of science. That is the beauty. But Mr. Speaker, even as we fight
What is out of order, Senator Ochilo Ayako?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I hate to interrupt my very good friend with whom we share a lot, Senator George Haniri, and we are very good friends. We are also both lawyers of Mulembe Nation. Now, Madam Speaker, I have submitted a written notice of amendment, and I wanted to seek your indulgence that if you were to allow it, then it would also be in form of part of the debate that Senator Haniri would contribute to. So I'm rising on a point of order to seek your indulgence to accommodate that amendment that I had intended to raise.
I'll be calling you at the appropriate time, so let's allow Senator Haniri to continue.
Yeah, indeed, Madam Speaker. If the amendment will be acceptable to what we are thinking, we will certainly support that particular amendment. Madam Speaker.
On the same amendment?
Yes, on the same issue.
I thought you were going to be the next one to contribute and you can give your issues.
No, contributing is different from the amendment. Just on a point of order.
By the way, we have not prosecuted the amendment yet, so I hope your point of order is related to...
No, my point of order, Madam Speaker, is in relation to the point of order raised by Senator Ochilo Ayako. If there's an amendment, procedurally, if there's an amendment that Senator Ochilo Ayako is proposing to bring, the Senate now deliberates on that amendment so that when the motion, which has already been moved and seconded,
Senator,
it is actually contributed as amended. Because if we move an amendment, I'm just being very pragmatic here in terms of the procedures. We are moving an amendment, we are moving the motion right now. Senator Haniri, my friend, is contributing on the motion as the way it has been moved and seconded. We have an amendment to that. I would think it would be much neater if we listen to the amendment, we vote on the amendment. If we do not agree on the amendment, then we can be able to revert back on the issue of the motion as moved and seconded. So the question that I want to ask, Madam Speaker...
Senator, I just wanted to tell you to be at peace because our standing orders are very clear, so I'm going to call him on time. Just allow Senator Haniri.
My concern, Madam Speaker, is one. We are contributing. I'm second in the list to contribute. I'll be contributing on the motion as moved and seconded. If it can be amended and we vote on it, it will save us more time because there's no point of me coming in and contributing on a motion as moved and seconded when there is an amendment which we must listen to it so that whether we vote it out so that we can continue with the motion as amended.
No.
Or the motion as moved and seconded.
Senator, please take your seat. Let's allow Haniri to finish because the amendment may not be one. You may be aware of one amendment, maybe there are more than one amendment. So just hold on, we'll do things procedurally.
Madam Speaker,
Madam
Speaker, I think we must teach these new legislators that this has been the practice in this House. We will contribute to the motion that has been moved. If there's an amendment, I'll be allowed also, similarly to you, you will be allowed to contribute on the amendment. Those are the standing orders, you can't change them. Madam Speaker, I was just trying to say that as we embark on this war on our fight on COVID-19, we must ensure that we do it within the confines of our Constitution. That is our Constitution 2010, which we all swore to uphold and protect. Mr. Speaker, one of the biggest gains that we got in our Constitution 2010 was the absolute independence of the three arms of government. Those of us who served in earlier parliaments, Senator Orengo is here, can bear me witness, Senator Wetangula, Senator Amos Wako is here. We served in a parliament that was an appanage of the office of the president. If you remember, even the clerk of the assembly would be seconded from the office of the president. And in those days, the president could prorogue parliament anytime, dissolve parliament anytime, and recall it as he wished. It wasn't working for our country. It is for that reason that we passed the Constitution 2010 to ensure that Parliament has its independence. We can decide when to sit, when to go home, when to go on recess, and so forth. The President has nothing whatsoever in deciding when Parliament should sit or not to sit. And the judiciary. All the three arms of Parliament are independent of each other. As we are talking now, the President is asking us to go home until May, but the executive is functioning. Their roles are still going on. Madam Speaker, I do not want to anticipate the amendment that will be brought by my namesake, Senator George Ochilo Ayako. But I would propose, and I'm glad that Senator Orengo, in seconding the motion, alluded to it, that we can still hold one sitting every week in strict adherence to the protocols, which we will ask you, Madam Speaker, to ensure that are enforced. Because I think we reached a stage and we relaxed all those protocols. On our seats, it's clearly marked where one should sit and where you should not sit, but we have always flouted that. If we can adhere to those protocols of keeping distance, nothing will stop us from conducting our business here on a weekly basis. And I want to second the proposal by my leader of my minority, that even if it means taking weekly or bi-weekly COVID tests, so be it. We are ready. As long as we are here to transact the business of the people who elected us to be here to represent them. We cannot cow and go home. That will send very bad signals to the people that elected us. We must be here and be part of the solutions. As the executive takes decisions, we must be here to audit those decisions. It is our duty. Who is going to oversight them? There is so much that needs to be done that telling us to go home for 1 month, we are giving, it's like giving the executive a blank check. We cannot afford to do that. Madam Speaker, we insist. I will vote against this motion if it's voted on the way it is. I don't know what the amendment says, but I want to insist that let's meet here every week, observe all the protocols. And Madam Speaker, it must go clear to our Speaker, Kenneth Lusaka, that he should be on the forefront in protecting the independence of this House. He should lead from the front. Decisions cannot be made in State House. Then the very Speaker that we expect to be on the forefront comes to read them to us here, and we expect that we will just pass them like that. This House is independent. We will make our own calendar, and the President, you must get this very clear, that the two houses of Parliament are independent. He's not going to decide when the Senate sits or when it does not sit. It is not in his duty. I oppose, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Senator Ochilo, can you move forward, please? Come forward. While he's coming, Senator Olekina, that's your turn. Senator Ochilo, come forward here for consultations first. In the meantime, the next member to contribute is Senator Olekina Ledama.
Madam Speaker, I thank you. I rise to support this motion, of course, with amendments, which I'm anticipating some amendments. And I think you speak through the speaker, but as the way it is, you know, I'm cognizant of the fact that this disease is very serious. And we cannot continue to behave as if we are immortal. Madam Speaker, I'm a member of the Senate Health Committee, and I know I'm privy to information on how dangerous this disease is. You know, we are sitting here when, the truth be told, none of us can actually stand here and say that they are not aware of one person, a relative or a friend, who has suffered COVID vaccine, or COVID pandemic, and actually even maybe died. So I think the key most important thing is for us to ask ourselves, what is the most responsible thing that we should do as a legislative arm of government? You know, I'm not averse to the fact that, yes, there are three arms of government which are independent. The judiciary, the executive, and the legislative arm of government, they are all independent bodies. And I agree, completely agree, Madam Speaker, with my good friend, Senator Haniri, when he says that the president cannot control parliament. But we are not blind. We know what is happening. People are dying on a daily basis. I support the fact that, you know, when we are sitting here right now, in fact, what we are doing is that we are trying to play dumb. You know, we are trying to behave as if we are immune to this pandemic, which is taking away the high and mighty of this world. So the truth of the matter is that, do we need to adjourn? Yes, we do. But what does it say in terms of our work as parliament? Can we continue with our work as parliament? Yes, we can. But we have to do it in an intelligent way that does not put our families in danger. When we stand here, we represent communities. We represent people who elected us to be here. But we have to do so in a very wise way. When we call for this amendment, one of the reasons why I am supporting this motion for adjournment, but of course with amendments, and I hope that those amendments will be brought by Senator Ochilo, which I'll be happy to second, on how we can be able to continue doing our jobs. Let us not, you know, get into this argument of who is more powerful, the executive, the legislative arm of government, or the judiciary. We are three independent arms of government. But the fact remains that there's a lot of things that we must do. And when we go into this adjournment, work of parliament must continue. There's no way you can be able to, you know, continue spreading the disease virtually. We have issues relating to cabinet secretaries that we have called. We've asked them to appear before the committee to respond to matters dealing with the vaccine. They can do so virtually. It doesn't mean that they cannot appear virtually. So when we sit here as distinguished senators, we must be able to put everything on the table and say, yes, we are happy to adjourn. But if we are happy to adjourn, how do we ensure that our work continues? Senator Haniri spoke of something which I believe, and I fully support him, that the executive is continuing, they are doing their work. Madam Speaker, one of the things that this parliament must know is that since we started borrowing money as a country, the national government has received 214 billion shillings to fight COVID. But the money that has gone to the county government is only 7 billion, which is a mere 3.7%. So I think the question you should be asking is this: if we indeed we are going to adjourn, how do we ensure that counties receive more money to be able to fight this pandemic, to be able to deal with this issue of COVID-19? So, Madam Speaker, one of the reasons which I strongly believe that if we are going to be able to be honest, I've stood here before, Madam Speaker, and I said, the truth is like a lion. You don't have to defend it. Just let it go out there and it will defend itself. You know? Let us be very honest. Where is it that we are adjourning? Are we adjourning because we are scared of the effect of COVID-19, or we are adjourning because we are scared that when we are here, someone else will bring another motion and they will be able to take the day? There are so many debates which are going out. Let us be candid. So, the work of our committees is very important. But let us not lie to the Kenyans that we represent here. I'm sure a lot of people are afraid of the argument of BBI, where BBI is right now. You know? But when I stand here and I know that I represent the people who elected me to stand here, I want, and by God, to always be able to tell the truth and to speak the truth. So I support this motion entirely, but I would wish that at least we can be honest. I was not happy with the directive of the Speaker, because when the Speaker gave a directive, it rendered our powers as senators, distinguished senators, you know, it rendered it, you know, useless. Parliament pronounces itself through resolutions, motions. This is a motion that we're discussing. And nothing stops a distinguished senator from bringing in an amendment to be able to make it wise that when we are adjourning, we can continue performing our jobs. So, Madam Speaker, what I would wish that we can be candid enough and speak about is that, you know, are we adjourning because we are afraid that maybe BBI will pass the way it is, or it will be brought here and bulldozed and will be reduced into voting machines? Or we are adjourning because we are scared of COVID-19? If we are indeed scared of COVID-19, then let us adjourn knowing that we have a fiduciary responsibility. As distinguished senators who serve in different committees, I serve in the Senate, in the Health Committee, Madam Speaker. And when I'm in that committee, I would like to ensure that I do my job diligently to ensure that people who are at home can be able to get vaccinated. I'm not quite happy, Madam Speaker, when I know that I live in Narok, and Narok, Kajiado, Machakos, Kiambu, Nakuru, and Kajiado and Narok borders Narok. They have been zoned as a red zone, but I cannot be able to get there. But are we doing anything? Have we asked the hard question? The questions we need to ask is this: 214 billion has been dispersed into this country through loans, not through grants, through loans. The national government has taken loans worth 214 billion to fight COVID-19. But we, in this Senate of the Republic of Kenya, which represent and protects the interests of counties, as Article 96 of the Constitution says, only happy and clapping our hands that, yes, 3.7% of the 214 billion has gone into counties. That is where the disease is spreading to.
It's a point of order from Senator Nderitu of Laikipia.
Mr. Speaker, I have listened to... Madam Speaker, I have listened to Senator Olekina talking so candidly and the way he wants to be very truthful. He's a member of Health Committee. I expected him to be telling us what they have done as a committee instead of telling us numbers and figures, without telling us, as a committee where he sits, and we are listening to him. I thought he'll be giving us answers as we listen. He tells us, instead of us having, out of the 200 billion that he's talking about, how much, even instead of us, what have they done? What have they done, Madam Speaker? So
point noted, he still has 5 minutes. He may be going there.
But maybe, but he's doing much of lamenting.
Madam Speaker, I'm very happy to have, for the intervention by my good friend who I serve with in the Energy Committee. And that is precisely the reason as to why I'm saying I would want to support this motion with amendments so that the Senate Health Committee can continue performing its function. Today, we tabled a report in this House.
As a point of order from Senator Malala. But we are even encouraging that we can use our microphones so that we don't share this one. Yeah, let's try and use our microphones, please.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Is Senator Olekina in order to support this motion with amendments? Yet no amendment has been moved so far. I think this is, he's misleading the House and anticipating debate. So I think you should rule him out of order and stick on the content of the motion as it is and as tabled. Thank you.
Senator Olekina, you will
Thank
have
you, Madam Speaker.
You will have
How
a
many
right,
more minutes?
You will have to. You'll have a right to come back when the amendment is tabled.
Madam
so
Speaker,
you don't have to refer to an amendment that we have never seen.
Madam Speaker, I was responding, and I'm happy that my colleagues are raising those concerns, which are the same concerns that each one of us here who has got a fiduciary duty to protect the interests of their counties should be raising. You know, yes, COVID is there, it is real. You know, it is decimating our populations. You know, for those who are reported and those who are not reported, Madam Speaker. Those who are lucky to be able to go to hospitals and those who are unlucky. Yesterday, Madam Speaker, we had the Cabinet Secretary saying that other people, and I'm sure that the rich and famous, have been able to, you know, gift themselves with the oxygen that is supposed to be out there in the hospital to help everybody. So, Madam Speaker, I have no problem with my colleagues speaking, my colleagues questioning my support of this motion. All I said is this, and this is in my contribution. I said that I would be happy because the reason why I'm saying that, Madam Speaker, is because I would not want this motion to fail on this floor. Because we have to lead by example, where the economy has essentially been closed. It's shut. But we are going on here. Kenyans will be saying members of parliament are happy to continue staying in office because they're getting allowances. So I'm saying, let us save face. Let us be honest and candid and say, yes, we want to close because it is dangerous. I support the idea that, in fact, even before we come here on a weekly basis, we should be submitting our negative results to the clerk. That is what is happening in other countries. But if we are standing here and contributing and we are saying, no, we are opposing, we want to continue doing business, what business are we going to do when Mama Mboga out there cannot go to the market because Nairobi is considered red zone and where she is getting her goods is from the other zone? So, Madam Speaker, let me change it a little bit and say, let me contribute to this motion. Okay? I will, because when I started raising up and saying, other people who want to continue sitting here on a daily basis and not thinking about those people who elected them, those people who are jobless are saying we want to continue working here. They're not discussing issues. They are not raising concerns. Serious concern is what Senator Kinyo has raised. Senator Kinyo has said, Senator Olekina, you sit in the Health Committee. Tell us what you're saying. What are you doing? The only way that I can be able to continue doing this is when we pass a resolution in this House, Madam Speaker, which is supported by a majority of the distinguished senators in this House, that says, let us adjourn, but adjourn in a certain way that we can always continue doing our job. So to finalize, Madam Speaker, I want to state as follows. I will support this motion with amendments, and I hope that those amendments will be allowed in to be able to come in. Because what we are afraid
Senator, please don't refer to amendments. It is what is making members impatient with you.
Then let me put it this way. It is not a book of a lamentation, as my good friend Senator Haneri would call it. It is a fact. We lay the facts on the table and say we are in deep shit. We are in problems as a country. What is happening in this country right now is that we are not willing to tell the truth. The
A
Speaker
point of order
gave-
from Senator Naomi Masitsa.
Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, we have heard here Senator Malala say that we do not have any amendment already on the floor of the House. Why is it that Olekina Senator is talking in terms of amendment and yet we have not reached that stage? If he doesn't have anything to talk, to communicate to us, let him do away.
Senator, can you please wind up? I see another point of order from Senator Malala.
Madam Speaker, I would like to request my good friend, Senator Olekina, to have a straight thought process, because he's saying that he is supporting this motion, yet the contents of his contribution are insinuating that he is opposing the motion. So I would like him to be in order and remain steadfast, so that he tells us whether he's supporting this motion or opposing this motion, Madam Speaker.
Senator Olekina, you have only 2 minutes. Can you wind up, please?
Madam Speaker, my 120 seconds will begin running now. And I put my foot on the ground and say, listen, gentlemen, let us not pussyfoot here. Let us be honest and let us speak the fact as they are. COVID is real. I want to continue doing my job as a member of the Health Committee to be able to help this country. I want to be able to put the national government to task. I want to continue with my job to ensure that when Senator Kinyua asked me how much money has gone into Laikipia County, is it Laikipia or Nyandarua County? Laikipia County, I can tell him that it is X amount of money. But the truth of the matter, Madam Speaker, is that because we are now intertwined in this relationship between the executive and the legislative arm of government, it is very difficult for us as the Parliament of Kenya to stand for what we were elected here to be able to defend. So, Madam Speaker, I would hope, and I'm speaking plain English here, I would hope that there will be amendments that will come in that will be able to change this motion so that when I fully support it,
Order,
I can
Senator.
be able to defend it. My 120 seconds are not over. Finally, Madam Speaker, I want to continue doing my job. And as I do so, I hope that Senator Haniri and my good friend from Kitui, whom I supported in the Mangu bill, whom I supported entirely in the Mangu bill, Madam Speaker, will be able to support an adjournment of this House, but with amendments. With amendments, so that we can continue. So, Madam Speaker, the reason why I'm insisting like this is because I have seen that the Speaker did not approve my amendments, which means that this House will not adjourn.
Senator Olekina, you are busy introducing more complicated issues. And you are attracting another point of order, but Langat, since he has left, you can drop your point of order for now. And I would
say that I can do save my neighbor, my good neighbor, by allowing this amendment that is so much looking forward to save us from this agony of all these matters.
Okay, I would like to invite, therefore, Senator Ochilo Ayago to move forward again for consultation, while Senator Cheruyot Aaron contributes without discussing the amendment for now. We will give you another time. Cheruyot, go on, please.
Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity. This makes for a very interesting afternoon. Never has a motion been amended and unamended so many times before it is even discussed than we are doing with this particular motion.
Yeah, other members, please console in low tones. We are going to move, we are moving, we are progressing well.
Okay.
The only thing I want to beg members is, I don't expect Senator Lelekwe to close the House at midnight. Please let's use our discretion to spend less than the 20 minutes that you have been given. And if you can move faster, then maybe.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'll try and be brief in follow-up to your guidance. Madam Speaker, like the rest of my colleagues who have shared, first of all, in their concerns with the communication from the Speaker earlier on this morning, if you're in the House at that particular time, Madam Speaker, you will recall that a number of us were fairly agitated and wanted to make a contribution immediately after the Speaker had communicated with us, because we felt that something was amiss, that there was something not so right about Speaker of our House. He should attend as many meetings as possible in State House. But when we receive communication from the Speaker of a meeting which this House did not sanction, or even had it sanctioned, cannot be bound by the decisions made in such meetings, and it is brought as a communication before a motion of this magnitude is discussed in this House, then as a House, we are bound to be worried, Madam Speaker. And therefore, the colleagues that have spoken of that particular matter, in my honest opinion, are rightfully within their place to speak and send a strong message from the floor of this House that the calendar of a parliament, Madam Speaker, is not something that can be amended and discussed in any other meeting anywhere else in this republic, Madam Speaker. And therefore, the right and the proper thing to have been done is to bring a motion such as the one that has been brought by leadership. Then we have a discussion as a House, as is happening this afternoon. Therefore, Madam Speaker, I too register my disappointment, and I hope our Speaker takes note and realizes that that is not something that should be treated casually, Madam Speaker. Secondly, Madam Speaker, I'd wish to come on to the contents of what we are discussing. Kenyans are looking up to us, and I'm sure many of them are watching what is ongoing on the floor of this House this afternoon, and they are looking up to us because they want direction. So many things have gone wrong in the country, and it will be unfortunate if the people they have bestowed the responsibility to ensure that at least they speak up for them and ensure that government, the executive, get things right, log out on them and run away, chicken out of the problem, and hide, as is being proposed before us, Madam Speaker, this afternoon. Madam Speaker, it will be so unfortunate if as a House we do not speak and speak so coherently about the many questions that Kenyans continue to ask in furtherance to that address by the President. If you watch the news, and I don't know how many of us are keen to listen to the things Kenyans said, immediately after the President gave that address last week on Friday, Kenyans were asking so many things, very basic questions, which any leader that cares for the people that sent them to this House should have been concerned about. People are asking even very basic questions to the point of you have just closed institutions of learning. And within the same communication, you are giving people up to 3 to 4 hours to be within restricted zones of the country. How are people supposed to move? That is what is happening in our country. And if we do not put our foot down as the House that is supposed to oversight the executive, things are going to go even far worse. Madam Speaker, people have spoken and have shared their concerns that indeed, if Nairobi and the other 4 counties that have been declared to be disease zones are areas where people shouldn't move in or out of. So what is the plan? Closing down Nairobi and its environs will not take the virus away. And Kenyans don't have any other avenue to ask these government questions about the plans they have apart from this House, Madam Speaker. Therefore, we must think critically. Even as we make this decision, there must be an intricate balance. I hear those colleagues of ours who are saying, let us remember that we have lost colleagues in this pandemic. It's true. But there are risks for any job. Just like doctors, I believe, would have wished to be with their families like the rest of us. But given that this war is being fought in hospitals and with medicine and not with bullets and guns, they are on the front line. If you read our constitution, Madam Speaker, Article 1 of our constitution, the first institution that Kenyans delegate power to, even before anybody else, is Parliament. We speak on behalf of the millions. The people of Kericho that are confused and are wondering, there are only 6,000 doses of vaccines that have been sent to Kericho. A county that has 1 million people. They are looking up to me. Where will I give them answers? And I've been locked in this city. I've been told not to dare to move away. Therefore, we must balance, Madam Speaker, and think critically. The challenge of leadership is rising up to the occasion in moments of difficulties, as this House is being called at particular moments like this, Madam Speaker. You read the supplementary budget that the National Assembly passed, I think last week or the week before. 8 billion shillings is being pumped down. This thing that is called Nairobi Expressway. Who is this that is in such a hurry that even in times of pandemic, when we should be saving every coin to import vaccines, we are buying steel and cement? Who is in charge of this country, Madam Speaker? I would wish to meet that person. I want to see them. Because honestly, the things that are being done do not make sense to me as a leader. I am concerned. Madam Speaker, I beg for your attention because the things that I'm...
There is a point of order from Senator Faria Ali.
Madam Speaker, is my colleague Senator Aaron Cheriot in order to ask who is in charge of this country when we know that His Excellency President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta was elected by the people of Kenya, and he's there as the president of this country, and he's in charge. Is that in order, Madam Speaker?
Senator Cheriot, can you finish, please? You have finished your time is almost
Are you
up.
sure it's because of the time or the things I'm saying, Madam Speaker?
It's because of the time.
Anyway, I'll try and be brief, Madam Speaker.
Because
whatever I say, Madam Speaker, is not out of disrespect or bad faith. It's just what anybody who means well for this country will ask. That surely, at a time when we are struggling and we are being told that, we read in the newspapers 2 weeks ago that Kenya was trying to secure a loan to buy vaccines. Yet if you take a study of the supplementary budget, you can see that this government is continuing to invest in capital projects that we do not need at this particular time, instead of buying vaccines for its citizens. Anybody should be concerned. Senator Faria, my colleague, should also be concerned on behalf of the citizens that she represents in this House. And therefore, my point is simple, Madam Speaker. Can we be given a plan? I heard Senator Pogisio, leader of majority, remind us that in any case, it is only 2 sittings that we are sacrificing. Because in any case, in 2 weeks' time, we're supposed to proceed on recess. Okay, that sounds fairly convincing. But then it would have made more sense had he suggested then that at the earlier on scheduled time of recess, then we can offload back those 2 weeks, and instead of coming back on the 11th of May, perhaps come back 2 weeks earlier so that we compensate for the time that is ongoing. But I am more persuaded, Madam Speaker, by the arguments that are being made by our colleagues that just having a motion in the state that has been presented before us this afternoon does not suffice to pass the threshold of what leaders of a country should do in times of a pandemic. In other countries, people are asking the right questions. We are pushing governments to make proper planning for their people, even in this city. And I'd be keen to listen to what Senator of Nairobi, Senator Sakaja, will say. And the senators that come from the rest of the 4 counties that have been locked down here. What are the plans for people who've been denied source of livelihoods, like Senator Moses Wetangula so ably captured it? What is this hurry with the NMS planting cabro everywhere? Instead of putting a stop and saying, how do we ensure that at least we feed the people in the informal settlements who, by closure of bars and all these people who draw out the living from hotels and all these places that we have denied operations, to ensure that we give them some form of cushion and comfort as a leader. as leaders of this country, Madam Speaker. Therefore, I know you have consulted, Madam Speaker, and I could understand the agony of Senator for Narok, Madam Speaker, because on one hand, he's being assured that an amendment will come. On the other hand, he's being told stick to the arguments that have been, to the motion that had been presented before the House at this particular time. And every time I see you keep on calling Senator Chilo Ayako, and I don't know who else has an amendment, perhaps it is better before we declare our stand whether we are going to support this motion or oppose it, that they be granted an opportunity, Madam Speaker, so that in the fullness of time, they have the benefit of having listened to all of us and the things that we are proposing. Therefore, Madam Speaker, at this...
Point of order from Senator Sakaja. Point of information, would you like to be informed?
Madam Speaker, just two things. One, in as much as I agree with a lot that my brother Senator Aaron Cheriot is saying, and he's mentioned he'd want to hear my comments, the example he's used is not accurate. The expressway of Nairobi, which is going to serve a big part of the transport corridor, not a shilling from the taxpayer is being used. It's a PPP project. So the 60 billion is being sourced by the contractor, and probably that's why they're hurrying, because they want to finish and start levying tolls. So your point, you might have a point, but not that example of the expressway. It is a PPP project, and the Kenyan taxpayers' money are not being used on that. But Madam Speaker, the reason I stood is because, as you saw, Madam Speaker, because there's a list, my mic was switched on from the table. And when they switched it off, I'm sure I've fallen down on the list. May I be returned to where I was? Because I have those points to make, Madam Speaker.
Okay. Please wind up, Senator Cheriot.
Correcting what Senator Sakaja has said, I'll share with him a copy of a supplementary budget. I have taken time to read what I'm saying. That figure of 8 billion is not a figure that I have just arrived on. If he speaks to his colleagues who are in the budget committee, they'll tell him that various ministries have actually been allocated resources towards that particular project. 2 billion shillings to the Ministry of Water to move water utilities along that corridor, some
Senator,
amount to Ministry of Energy.
I wish you can concentrate
So,
on what...
no, I was just correcting something that he said, and I thought, okay, I'll conclude, Madam Speaker.
Yeah.
Therefore, I said I will delay my decision on whether to support or oppose, depending on a better proposal that will be given to us, because this one that has been proposed by leadership cannot fly, in my honest opinion. Therefore, I'll have to wait for a better proposal from Senator George Achilo Ayako. Otherwise, in the absence of that, Madam Speaker, I'll be forced to oppose this.
You know how to debate, Senator, and you know there is nothing like delayed decision. When we are debating senators, you either oppose or support. When the amendment comes, you decide whether you want to support the amendment or not. Honorable Senators, now that I have received the notice of amendment in an approved format, I would like to invite Senator Ochilo Ayako to come forward and move his amendment.
Madam Speaker, thank you for the opportunity, and forgive me for my reluctance to come over there and move it from there. I'm comfortable where I'm using my own microphone. That has been used a couple of times, and I cannot vouch for its safety.
I support you, Senator. In fact, please, I plead with members, let's avoid these two microphones. Let's use our own microphone.
Well, thank you, Madam Speaker. And it's also in line with the COVID protocols that we keep to where we are. So I'm keeping to where I am. Madam Speaker, just like my colleagues here and outside this house, we all love to live. None of us would want to die. I particularly, if anybody here is suicidal.
Senator Ochilo Ayako,
so
you are a very senior member of Parliament.
I am sorry, Madam Speaker.
You are supposed to be moving an amendment.
Let me move my amendment. I'm so excited about life. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order number 62, paragraph 1, I rise to move an amendment to the motion at order number 10 in the following terms. By adding the following words immediately after the following words, resolution made on 24th March 2021 appearing on the 7th line of the motion, and I quote, provided that a select committee of the Senate continue to hold virtual meetings pursuant to standing order number 251A, and where necessary, hold physical meetings in absolute and strict compliance with COVID-19 protocols. End of the words to be inserted. Madam Speaker, I want to move this motion, and I want to give very brief reasons because members would like to efficiently and in a tidy manner dispose of this anxiety. Madam Speaker, we all love to live, and I particularly love to live, and I know all my colleagues would love to live and not suffer any affliction. In fact, the presidential directive and the Speaker's directive are all in line with preserving ourselves and preserving the nation. So I want to state clearly that this motion is not a reckless motion. This amendment is one that allows us to protect ourselves, but also to do the work as we are able to do it. Madam Speaker, in all employment matters, it is said that if you feel too unwell, that you can't work, you should resign. So we should not, as a House, give the impression that we are so afraid of COVID that all work must stop, yet Kenyans place so much premium on what we want to output. So, Madam Speaker, this amendment is intended to help Senate do its work. Senate or Parliament work in two ways. We work through plenary or through committees. And if one of them is shut completely and the others are not facilitated to operate within the COVID regulations, so we will have abdicated our responsibility to be out there to work for Kenyans. So this amendment is intended to allow committees to sit virtually, knowing that no member of the committee wants to be suicidal, does not want to be alive in order to represent the interest of the people who send us here. But it also must allow committees to have an opportunity to sit physically when that is the only way to discharge the obligations of Senate. I want to give two examples. If you look at the Security Committee, and something should happen in any part of this nation which requires a physical visitation or a physical meeting between the Security Committee and any responsible institution, that should be allowed because there is nothing more urgent than security matters. If something should happen that affects health, that may require a meeting between the Health Committee and any other relevant entity, that should also be allowed, and other similar matters. So it is important to allow an opportunity for a physical meeting where virtual meetings may not be sufficient to discharge the obligations of Senate. Madam Speaker, in the morning the Speaker gave a ruling.
Honorable Senators, please consult in low tones.
In the morning
the mover is putting forward very important points.
In the morning the Speaker gave a directive that there will be no physical meetings, and what has informed this amendment is not to challenge that directive. The Speaker and I are very good friends, and we share many beliefs, so it would be unheard of me to have or to even countenance trying to negate the Speaker's decision. But this amendment is intended to assist the Speaker. The Speaker perhaps did not take into consideration the fact that after we pass this motion, there will be a long queue of members going to the Speaker's office trying to discuss it with the Speaker. there will also be other people external to this house calling speaker to other places where he was called to, telling him not to allow members to meet. So this amendment is seeking to inform any person who may want to interfere with the speaker or with us that the house has resolved, and it is a house of responsible members, that it will, where absolutely necessary, have physical meetings. Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, can you protect me from the side of
Honorable
government?
Senators, please take your seats. Take your seats. The mover is giving you reasons why he's seeking an amendment.
Now, Madam Speaker, I also want to state, and I want to agree with my friend Senator George Haniri. Senator George Haniri indicated that it appears that Parliament was being directed from some place. Now, the press also reported that Parliament was being directed to take certain actions from certain places. Now, I have had occasion, and Madam Speaker, you have also had occasion, including the substantive speaker, to be senior government officials. When you visit State House, that is not where free discussions are held. So the press took the discussions there to mean they were directives. I think it is in this platform here in plenary that sensible amendments like this would be discussed that take into consideration the practical work of Senate. So this amendment is necessary. I know that it's absolutely necessary because as we work in a manner that is practicable, that we don't have plenary because plenary comprises many members, let us allow committees which comprise fewer members to be able to work so that we are able to discharge the functions of Senate in compliance with COVID regulations. I did not intend it to be long, but I want to move this amendment and request my very good brother, Senator Murkomen, to support this amendment.
Senator Murkomen? He is seconding the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I beg to second this motion.
The amendment to the motion.
The amendment to the motion.
Yeah.
Madam Speaker, there is a very important point that Senator Ochilo Ayako is making that perhaps we may lose as a Senate. The reason why the Constitution 2010 was amended and to take out powers from anybody else, even the Speaker or the executive, in determining the calendar of the House, including the procedures of this House, was because there is a history, Madam Speaker, where the executive used to manipulate Parliament in the old days. This amendment is very important. It may look so superfluous. It may even look like it's so obvious because nobody had opposed meeting online. But it's important that it is known and it is in public domain that the calendar of this House, including whether members will meet virtually or not, is determined by the members themselves. So that, Madam Speaker, this is not left to the determination of the chair of a committee or the Speaker of the House or any other powers. So it may look like, and I really appreciate the thinking of Senator Ochilo Ayako, who is a senior lawyer, Madam Speaker, and one of my brightest students, Madam Speaker. I had initially, when I looked at this amendment, I thought, this man is just adding unnecessary amendments to this motion to derail the debate in this House. But the uptake of this amendment is to make it abundantly clear that it's only members of this House, through resolutions of this House, that can determine how committees meet, the period of time it takes for committees to meet, the manner in which the committees will meet, and whether or not we can adjourn the proceedings of this House at any given time. And I therefore want to persuade my colleagues that we adopt this amendment as an addition to the main motion. I know we are going to make contributions to the main motion, and I may not get the similar time that I got in seconding this motion to say this. That, Madam Speaker, again, I was of the opinion originally that we should not adjourn, even for a day, that our calendar, we must meet every week. But I understand, I was persuaded when I realized that the calendar already indicates that we are going for recess on 16th of April, meaning that we are only forfeiting 2 sittings of next week and the week after. Thereafter, we go for the recess that was already planned and come back on 11th of May and now follow our calendar as it is. It's because of that reason that I was persuaded that we can take the 2 weeks as a break. The committees continue meeting as suggested by Senator Ochilo Ayako, virtually, as many times as dictated by the standing orders, so that we can continue the business of this House. Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Senators, please console in low tones.
Madam Speaker, protect me from
Seconding is going on.
Senator Cheriot. Madam Speaker, thank you very much. Yeah. Madam Speaker, I am saying this with utmost respect, that time is not on our side. I hope it has occurred to all of us that there are only 16 months to the elections. And Madam Speaker, perhaps only 10 months. We have less than, actually, we have about 7 months before we go for the annual recess and come back in February 2021, which means we lose about 2 months out of the 16 months remaining. And when we come back in February, we go back for our party nominations, which ends around April. And thereafter, some members here will have lost their party tickets. Some members will have gone to become campaigners, governors. It may be only that we have less than 6 or 7 months productive in this House. One of the reasons why we should not have long recess period is because we have no time anyway. So we take only the 2 weeks out of the old calendar, come back on 11, and I suggest, Madam Speaker, when we come back on 11, we must increase the frequency of our meetings between May, June, July, August, September, October. Thereafter, I don't think there will be any very, very profitable time we are going to contribute from there, from November going ahead. The last thing I want to say is that even part of the reasons why members are saying committees must meet is, one, to deal with the question of oversight. Madam Speaker, you know last time we went for recess, some darkness that came where oversight was not going on in this House. You know that we had a KEMSA scandal. And there's a possibility that if we were to close this House without even the committees meeting, there's a possibility that the House will not have an opportunity to intervene if another situation was to occur.
Please consult quietly.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
I don't know where this consultation is, maybe in the corridors.
Especially at the entrance,
Second
Madam Speaker.
Please check what is going on, because
Thank
I'm
you.
hearing some noise. Yeah.
So it is to enable us to carry out our oversight responsibilities. Number two, we also have to meet to perform our responsibilities. We cannot continue earning salaries and, having been elected by the people of Kenya to protect them from this pandemic, we can't go into hiding. Madam Speaker, we are the ones, and expect the other leaders from I don't know where to think about the things that are affecting the people of Kenya. Didn't know that it was going to happen in less than 5 years. Now we are in a situation where we do not know when is the next time the curfew will be reviewed. In fact, I will want us to ponder and think. Senior counsels are here, Senator Omogeni, Senator Amos Wako, Emerita, Senator Orengo, and the team that is here. Is it really right for a country to have a curfew that is indefinite? Is it really right for a country to have measures that do not have timelines, not even timeline for review? Are we going to remain as a country in darkness as it is? How are we going to achieve that? If the legal committee will continue meeting as suggested by Senator Ochilo Ayako, they can be able to advise the country about the legality and viability of these measures that have been put in place. Madam Speaker, for the benefit of the people of Kenya, for us to think about hustlers that are suffering at the moment, people who have no jobs, people who have no social protection, for us to recommend to this government to go back to the social safety nets that they had provided before, including tax measures that are going to protect the people of Kenya. I really support this motion, and that we should amend to ensure that committees continue meeting virtually, as we've always done for the period that we've witnessed this COVID for the last 1 year. Madam Speaker, I beg to second.
Thank you, Senator. Honorable Senators, I would now like to propose the motion by inserting the amendment that has been proposed, that by adding the following words immediately after the words resolution made on 24th March 2021, appearing on the 7th line of the motion, provided that select committees of the Senate continue to hold virtual meetings pursuant to Standing Order 251A, and where necessary, hold physical meetings in absolute and strict compliance with COVID-19 protocols. Honorable Senators, we are now going to resume, but we are going to deal with the amendment first so that we dispose it off. And for that, my screen has everybody, those who may have wanted to contribute to the main motion, and those who would wish to deal with the amendment. What we are going to do, I will call them in order, and if you would like to be skipped in the amendment, please turn it down. Number two, I'm going to request, as I had requested earlier, that we don't want to go after midnight. Please, I know some members had proposed 5 minutes each. Is that reasonable? 5 minutes? Okay, maximum of 5 minutes, and if you can do it in 3 minutes, that is perfect. We need to dispose of the amendment, and then after disposing of the amendment, then we go back to the main motion. Senator Halaka Abshiro Shoka.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise to support the motion to go on recess in its amended form. I think the committees, the select committees would do a good job, especially if being done virtually, so I do support with the amendments. Madam Speaker, though, I'd like to say something about this whole issue. Madam Speaker, we've been told about the powers and privileges of our House, which of course is in no doubt, but these are not our normal times. We cannot be talking about the powers, the privileges, and the autonomy and everything else when indeed these are not our normal times. These are times of pandemic, therefore measures that are being taken, and what His Excellency has actually proposed and encouraged Parliament to do is not in any way unconstitutional given the dire circumstances. Madam Speaker, this pandemic has been with us for 1 year now. I know in this House we have talked about how we're going to do stuff about the COVID billions, and how we're going to do things around the social safety net, and how we're going to look at different things, all of which are very valid. But that having been said, what stopped us from doing these things in the last 1 year that this pandemic has been with us? So let's be honest. If this House is a house of records, if this House is a house of procedure, if this House really is about representation, oversight, and all the legislation that we want to do, we had all the time to do so. Not to mention that now, because there's a pandemic and there's a recess that has been proposed, then we cry foul. Madam Speaker, many Kenyans have been at home. They're not working, they're not exercising their freedom, they're not exercising their powers, they are home obeying the science to save lives of others. Madam Speaker, this House should also obey the science. This House should also not play politics with the lives and livelihoods of other Kenyans, because it is true that we may be culpable when it comes to being super spreaders. You've seen the rallies we've had. You've seen the number of times we have ignored the basic protocols. Therefore, we should not stand here today now because we've been asked to go on recess and say we must be here, and to recall the powers and privileges of this House. Madam Speaker, I know we must make sure that the social safety nets, we must make sure that people's livelihoods are taken care of, and we must make sure that people are cushioned against the vagaries of this disease. But that being said, how is our being in this chamber going to help with that? If we need to think about out of the box, the select committees can go virtual. They can then do what we're supposed to do, because when at the height of the first pandemic and the first wave, we had a select committee on COVID that represented this House and did everything for this House. So in fact, if there's need be, perhaps the health committee can be chosen to be that select committee that takes care of the business while we are at home, or another committee ad hoc be put in place to support if that is desirable. That having been said, Madam Speaker, I don't think that we should be feeling like we are bulletproof when it comes to this pandemic. The science is very clear. We in this House have been affected, and every Kenyan has been affected, and therefore, while I support, I would like to discourage my colleagues from playing politics with this disease. Wearing masks, keeping social distance, and staying at home is not political. It's a matter of life. I support, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Wambua Enoch Kio.
Madam Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity to contribute to this motion. From the onset, I want to declare that I support this motion as amended. Madam Speaker, in supporting the amendment to the motion by the Majority Leader, I want to remind all of us that, Madam Speaker, we are here to exercise the sovereign authority donated to us by the Kenyan people. That, Madam Speaker, there is no denying that we all need to exercise a lot more caution. We all need to exercise greater fidelity to the containment measures as given to us by the World Health Organization globally and the Ministry of Health at the national level. Madam Speaker, but even as we observe these containment measures and protocols, we must also be reminded that we have a job to do. And this job, Madam Speaker, will be done in good times and in bad times, in good health and in ill health, Madam Speaker. And so, Madam Speaker, the amendment to ensure that committees of the Senate will continue to meet virtually and where necessary physically to address themselves to the challenges and the plight of our people is most welcome. I was a bit worried, Madam Speaker, by the ruling of the Speaker in the morning that even before anyone approaches the Speaker to seek to have either a virtual or a physical meeting of the committees, that request had already been denied pronto. So, Madam Speaker, I'm happy that these amendments have been brought, and I thank Senator Ochilo Ayako for bringing that amendment. Madam Speaker, the last time, our first encounter with this pandemic, sometimes last year, when we sort of lowered our guard as a Senate, we all know what happened. Within a few months, this country had evolved several billionaires benefiting from monies that had been directed to the containment of this pandemic. Madam Speaker, it would have been a dereliction of duty if, as the Senate, we stopped meetings of committees and plenary at a time that we are talking of sourcing for more funds to go into the containment of this pandemic. So, Madam Speaker, I am happy that committees will continue to meet, and I want to urge the committees that will meet, and especially committees that will be dealing with the containment of this pandemic. That, Madam Speaker, we must be told in very clear terms how much money is being directed into the fight against this coronavirus.
Meetings as is envisaged in the amendment by Senator Ochilo. Madam Speaker, it is important that we continue these sittings because we have Kenyans of goodwill who are making donations, for example, to our county hospitals and even national hospitals, who is going to check to ensure that these donations are well received and well utilized, and make sure that the executive does indeed facilitate the process of receiving these donations to help Kenyans who are facing this epidemic. So, Madam Speaker, I thank you and I support the amendment.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Ndwiga, Peter Njeru.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I stand to support the motion as amended, for both the corridor and also the sittings of the Senate committees. Madam Speaker, some of our committees have a full
I see a point of order from the majority leader.
Madam Speaker, and I don't want to interrupt my good friend, but I think the clarity needs to be made to the Mheshimiwa, to the Senator. He is now debating the motion as amended, when he should actually be now debating the amendment only. I just wanted to make that clarity, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Leader. I was about to stop him actually because I was wondering why he was pressing the stop we have amended.
Thank you.
Members, we are dealing with the amendment. So let's deal with the amendment, finish with the amendment, then we go back to the motion as amended. That's why I was saying don't go beyond 5 minutes, please. Just if you support, you support. And if we can move faster so that we dispose that one off, then we come back to the amended version.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
For a longer time. Senator Murkomen.
If members are in agreement, Madam Speaker, we can allow the Senator Ndwiga to finish, and then you put a vote on the amendment, so that people just contribute. Because of the time we have is 4. Now we debate the motion, and if Senator Ndwiga is more comfortable contributing to the motion as a whole, we can put the vote first, and then you can continue.
Your proposal is good, except it's coming from the wrong person. Normally, it is the person who has not spoken who should be giving that kind of proposal.
You cannot.
So
I did not. I know, Madam Speaker, the rules.
Yes.
I only made a proposal. I didn't move a motion. It's unless someone moves that the mover be now. I was not moving it.
Yeah, please whisper to your neighbor now, so that they can do the move. But it's a good proposal, Senator Ndwiga.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, yes, I want to support the amendment because one of the reasons I support the amendment, Mr. Speaker, and I just started saying, is that some of the committees of this House have an overflowing entry, and there's so much business that needs to be done. And if we are going to avoid the work of committees totally, Madam Speaker, that would be bad for both the House and the committees. Madam Speaker, I do support the amendment, and I hope, Madam Speaker, that you also see me, because I am still pressed to contribute for the main motion. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Cherarke, I see some intervention from you.
Madam Speaker, I move that the mover be called to reply. Then we can move to the main motion. Thank you.
Honorable Senators, a proposal has been given that the mover be called to reply. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of the contrary say nay? The ayes have it. Senator Ayako Ochilo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I'm very grateful for the good remarks that members have. Want to contribute to the motion as amended. I therefore rest my reply there and pray that members will unanimously and in a bipartisan way support the amendments. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Senators, let's now go back to, I want to put a question on the amendment that was brought by the Senator Ochilo Ayako. And I put a question that an amendment be put on the motion by adding the following words immediately after the words resolution made on 24th March 2021 appearing on the 7th line of the motion. That's provided that select committees of the Senate continue to hold virtual meetings pursuant to Standing Order 251A, and where necessary, hold physical meetings in absolute and strict compliance with COVID-19 protocols. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary say nay? The ayes have it. Honorable Senators, we are now back to the motion as amended, and I would like now to propose the motion in the amended form. Thank you. In the amended form, the motion, I propose the motion that notwithstanding the resolutions of the Senate made on the 16th February 2021, that's on the approval of the Senate calendar, and on 24th March 2021, alteration of the Senate calendar, pursuant to Standing Order 29-4, the Senate resolves to further alter the Senate calendar regular sessions of the Senate in respect of Part 2, so as to adjourn on Tuesday, 30th March 2021, and to resume sittings on Tuesday, 11th May 2021, in accordance with the resolution made on the 24th March 2021, provided that select committees of the Senate continue to hold virtual meetings pursuant to Standing Order 251A, and when necessary, hold physical meetings in absolute and strict compliance with COVID-19 protocols, and that pursuant to Standing Order 31(3)A and B, the morning session of Tuesday, 30th March 2021 be held until the conclusion of business appearing on the order paper. Senator Haji Faria Ali.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for allowing me to contribute. And I want to affirm that COVID is real. Madam Speaker, the graveyards are filling up quickly. I think we should be very careful, given that we come from different counties. And if we continue meeting the way we are doing right now, we could be also super spreaders, besides risking our lives, Madam Speaker. 26% infection rate is not just a number, Madam Speaker. Those are people's lives, Madam Speaker. As we have all noticed, the death rate has increased from 1 or 2 deaths to 24, 18. I mean, that should be alarming to anybody who has sense of responsibility for the lives of Kenyans, Madam Speaker. And therefore, I think our president was taking his duty seriously, by in the communique that was shared in terms of our president's message, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, if you go to Langata Cemetery today, you will see the number of graves for the Muslims have increased. So has the Christian graves. Knowing that even most of the Christians don't bury, the ones who die in Nairobi go to shags, but still, you see that the number has gone high, Madam Speaker. Apologies, I withdraw. They go to their home counties to bury. But that also, but even then, the graveyards are also increasing. So that shows the gravity of this matter, Madam Speaker. And sometimes I tend to feel, even the people who die of COVID, all of them are even not in the country statistics. Sometimes they just die for other, people assume they died for other ailments, but they still could have died from COVID. Because from the normal time to now, you will see the difference. Even those that were, the side that is marked for COVID is totally different from the other side, but yet even the other side is also moving, Madam Speaker. And therefore, and then I had assertions that the President directed Parliament. I just went back to read his speech, Madam Speaker. He said with concurrence with the Parliament leadership. I do not see how with concurrence can be translated to direction, Madam Speaker. So I think when we communicate some of these things, I think let us put the right communication forward, Madam Speaker. We have moved from a position whereby, Madam Speaker, people were saying, who knows anybody who has gotten COVID? From people who are dying, who are your relative, who are your friends, who are people you have been, you just spoke to the other day and they are gone today. So, Madam Speaker, this is a very serious issue. Madam Speaker, and I also support the motion as amended because, like, if we continue holding virtual meetings, as you remember, most of our bills, because of lack of concurrence, they were returned back to Senate, majority of the bills. And it will be tragedy if the committees don't handle some of these bills, and we leave this House having sponsored like more than 4 bills, and none of it goes through. And Madam Speaker, but if the virtual sitting continues, then the committees will finish their work in terms of the bills, and then once we open, it's just a matter of debating and passing those bills. And then, Madam Speaker, as Finance Committee, there are 2 bills that needs to go through. For example, the DORA and the CARA. Both are very important for counties in terms of financing. And as we approach towards the financial year, then if the committees don't handle those issues, it means that then it will waste our time and that things will not move as quickly. And therefore, the passage of budget will be delayed. And as a result, we will not have budgets on time the way it should be. Madam Speaker, and I believe because virtual sittings have no risk, people can just join from their houses. Therefore, cross-infection of people will not happen if we are contributing to committee work through virtual sitting, Madam Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, I support the main motion as well as the amendment, Madam Speaker. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Mogeni. Eric Okongo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I also rise to support the motion that is on the floor to the effect that we alter our sittings so that we adjourn from the 30th of March 2021 and resume our sittings on 11th of May 2021. Madam Speaker, I first want to begin by trying to understand that what His Excellency the President did was to request and persuade Parliament to assist the President in putting in place measures that can assist in stopping the transmission of COVID-19. I don't think, Madam Speaker, the President was in any way trying to direct Parliament on how to conduct its business. Now, Madam Speaker, the main reason why we want to adjourn our sittings is simply because we want to assist in stopping the transmission of COVID-19, Madam Speaker. And we are also trying to heed to the warnings that science is telling us. And Madam Speaker, what the scientists are saying is that the more you have physical interaction, the more the risk of exposing yourself to contracting COVID-19. It's that simple. We can choose to listen to science, or we can choose to ignore what science is telling us. And Madam Speaker, because of the devastating effects we have seen from this invisible enemy called COVID-19, I beg that we give a chance and listen to science. Madam Speaker, in my county, just this morning, we were burying somebody who died from COVID-19. On Friday, and these are people we know, on Friday, we are burying another resident of Nyamira who passed from COVID-19. So this virus is with us, and it's causing devastating effect on our people. Madam Speaker, as leaders, we need to lead by example. Madam Speaker, if you saw the reaction to the statement that was issued by the President, there were a number of organizations that wanted to challenge the decision by the President. And they are waiting to see what action we take as Senate. The church is waiting, Madam Speaker. And if you read online postings, they were asking if the Senate can hold its sessions, why not the church? So, Madam Speaker, if we make the decision to adjourn today, there will be a trickle effect. Other bodies like our brothers in mosques, our brothers in church, and even by extension, people who run bars, they were asking, I mean, we watch these senators in Senate meeting, why are we being stopped from having our fun? So really, this is trying to act as responsible citizens and trying to show leadership. I was watching CNN this morning. Madam Speaker, in Australia, a state called Gold Coast, Brisbane, only had 3 cases, just 3. And the Premier of that state issued a decree stopping any movement from that state to the other states of Australia. Just 3 cases. But for us, I was watching the news yesterday, and we are being told our positivity rate is at 26%. Madam Speaker, if you listen to the scientists, they are telling us, if we don't put in place measures to control transmission, we will watch Kenyans dying on the corridors of our hospitals. Our ICU beds are full to capacity. And that's the reality that we should tell our people. They are full to capacity. The neighboring counties have got no capacity to receive patients from the county of Nairobi, Madam Speaker. More worrying
are passing on after short illness. And the word short illness really stands for COVID these days, unless maybe it's heart attack, but it's mostly COVID. Madam Speaker, sir, we are asking that we adjourn until 11th of May. So it is not an indefinite adjournment. It is until a specific date, 11th of May, when this House itself has said we shall resume. And on 11th of May, if the situation continues the way it's continuing, Madam Speaker, I will myself be ready to say, let us adjourn again. The amendment you have made, I think, was an appropriate amendment because it allows for virtual meetings of the committees. As we all know, a lot of work is done in the committees. And it's only appropriate that during the intervening period between now and the 11th of May, Parliament in its oversight role, particularly through the committees, will be able to see how the various actions did to deal with the COVID pandemic are being implemented or are being violated. Madam Speaker, I know the Committee on Public Health will have some work to do in this regard. I know the Committee on Transport and Infrastructure will have some work to do in this regard. I know the Committee on Devolution and Intergovernmental Relations will have some work to do in this regard. I know the Committee on Education, the Minister for Education is moving all over the country, issuing statements here and there. He's a very active minister, and I like his activity. But the committee should be there also to comment and add value to what he's saying. I know the Committee of Finance, and I know the Committee on National Security, Defense, and Foreign Relations. Madam Speaker, most of the work of this House is through committees. And it's appropriate that between now and the 11th of May, something should be happening so that when we resume on 11th of May, and assuming that the situation would have become better and we can continue our sitting, at least we would have some quality work to do. In other words, between now and then, the committees will be preparing work for us to start on 11th of May. And they'll be doing so in a manner in which the COVID protocols are being observed virtually. So, Madam Speaker, I do support the motion as amended by my friend Ochilo Ayako. I didn't know Ochilo, you are a student of Mbukomen. And that's why sometimes there are some mistakes you are making in the law. I know now where they came from, and I had to correct you on some of those things. So I now know where those things came from. With those few remarks, I support.
Senator Hargura Godana. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Madam Speaker, I'd like to support this motion as amended. Madam Speaker, we all know that COVID is real, and the effect of the third wave is being felt, especially in the identified parts of this country, the 5 counties. And we have to assist the President in ensuring that the lives of Kenyans are preserved and actions are taken. Madam Speaker, as it has been said, the executive is still performing its duties, so as the legislature, we still have to perform ours to oversight the executive, because we know in the first wave, when we suspended our sittings, that is when things like the KEMSA scandal took place. So this time we need to be vigilant, and we need to take the actions which are required by adjourning our sittings, but still, because Senate works mainly through the committees. We have the plenary, then we have the committees, and the plenary is the one which you need to suspend because that's where the in-person contact is taking place. But we need to concentrate oversight role now in the committees, and that is why I support the amendments which expressly states that the committees can continue working virtually so that we don't suspend our oversight role, but we oversight in a way that is in compliance with the current situation. Technology is there, we have been using it, so let's have that one and let's continue doing the oversight. Madam Speaker, also, when the President announced the measures, there was this question which came up that yes, now the 5 counties which are said to be disease-invested zones have been kind of closed off. What's happened to the livelihoods of the affected Kenyans? In the first wave, there was the raft of measures like suspension of or reduction of the tax. There was the issue of the loans repayment being rescheduled, and we know that already the governor of Central Bank has said that that period, that window is closing by, I think, next week. So what happens? Now we have gone back to that situation. Those who are trying to pay those loans are already now, again, being taken back to the situation where their business have closed down. So I urge the President, while implementing these measures, also let's come up with a way of cushioning Kenyans so that they don't get doubly affected. Already since March last year, we have been going through this pandemic, and at least the businesses were recovering when the economy was opened up, and now we are going back to the same lockdown. Restaurants have been closed, working hours have been reduced, transport business have already been affected because of this lockdown. So let it not end at the lockdown, because this thing will not sort itself out. Let's take care of also how the Kenyans will be affected, especially in these 5 counties, by reinstituting again the safety measures, the cushioning measures which were there in the first wave, so that we don't lose our livelihoods while trying to save lives, because at the end of the day, we have to be sensitive to the lives of Kenyans. And other parts in this world, you will find governments are coming up with very critical, very clear measures, like cushioning for job loss. We may not be in a position as an economy to do that, but we need to make sure that we also cushion our citizens the much we can. Thank you. I support the motion as amended.
Senator, I don't see Malala, Senator Malala. That could be his nephew, but definitely not him. Okay, Senator Ongeri Samson Kegongo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I think history is replete of many reminders of where we have come from and where we're going. In the 14th century, Asia and Europe were ravaged by a plague that killed so many people, to an extent that the plagues that appeared later, so those of us who went to school much later, many years later, were able to be told if you kill one rat and you produce in the school, that was something that was very positive. In 1957 and 1968, we had the flu pandemics that appeared globally. Not to mention the HINI pandemic of 2009, which was a swine flu pandemic that appeared and devastated a lot of populations worldwide. In 1918 to 1919, there was the Spanish flu, not because it happened in Spain, but because it was nomenclatured in that level. The outstanding factor, Madam Speaker, is that it killed 20 to 40 million people. We now have COVID-19 19 of 2019-20, which has ravaged the whole world. So the question is, what is a pandemic? It's not an epidemic, because epidemic is confined to a small little population or community. But this is a global event. It may occur the whole country or the whole world. And therefore, the COVID-19 fits that description of a global pandemic which is infectious, which is spreading, and unless some very stringent measures are put in place, the entire population will be decimated. And we don't have to joke about it, we don't have to argue against it. So then, having defined what a pandemic is, being an infectious disease, unless some measures are taken into account, have been put in place, we'll lose so many people. That's why I'm fully persuaded. First of all, as a professional, as a medic, I'm fully persuaded to support the amended form of this motion, because it means so much for the population of this country. We cannot continue fooling around. We cannot continue joking around with an infectious disease that's already killing thousands of our people and pretend as if we're heroes that we'll be able to reverse the events. We will not be able to reverse the events. And I think the best thing that we can have is to be able to operationalize the Public Health Act. And for the sake of clarity, the Public Health Act, Chapter 242, Part 3, Section 19, 17, 18, 19, and 20 deals with notification of an infectious disease. Indeed, the Ministry of Health has done so. Part 4 deals with the prevention and suppression of this scourge. That's where we are. And I think the best thing that the Senate can do is to be part of this fight against this pandemic. And I fully support the government efforts by the President and the Ministry of Health. They must be fully supported by this House while performing their duties. That's why we are allowing the select committees to be in session so they can be able to check the excesses, particularly when the resources are being shifted from normal budgets to be able to deal with this pandemic by its nature being a flu, an epidemic, an infectious disease. And that's why this House must at all times, in all the times,
Senator Sakaja Johnson Arthur.
Thank you. Madam Speaker, I rise to support this motion as amended by the Senate. Madam Speaker, tough times call for tough measures. Throughout last year, I think our country received a lot of accolades for the management of this pandemic, as opposed to many other countries, not just in the region, but world over. And Madam Speaker, I think at some point, we let our guard down because we've been doing well. In terms of managing the disease, in terms of keeping the numbers down, and even in terms of the kind of health care that we were able to get. At that point, Madam Speaker, we had the ad hoc committee. And the ad hoc committee of the Senate, which I was chairing, was the one institution, or rather body representing this institution, that had a bird's overview, a bird's eye view over the entire, all aspects of the COVID-19 pandemic in this country. And Madam Speaker, we interacted with all areas, economic issues, the health issues, the social issues, security, human rights. And you could tell at that time that even the executive was really taking the cue that the House was setting. throughout that period, even until the committee ended its mandate under Senator Kasanga. Madam Speaker, the concern that there still needs to be oversight must be stated. That even at this point, because I support the President's initiative to lock down the country, in as much as it is difficult. And I think we all need to understand that it is not in any government's interest to do a lockdown. One, if you look at the level of taxes that have gone down, no government would want to reduce how much money it's collecting. No government would want to restrict trade. When we were doing the budget policy statement the other day, we considered the projected economic growth, which is very low, and what has happened in the last financial year. So even that tells you that these are desperate times. The number of deaths, Madam Speaker, we've lost friends. In fact, tomorrow I'm burying a friend, Antonio Leting in Kitale. We've lost friends over the past few days, many. In fact, it's no longer news. These days, you wait and hear today who has died. Yeah? These measures needed to be taken. Madam Speaker, it is unfortunate, and I've had certain colleagues saying, because our standing orders are clear, I think standing order 100 or 101, that a member must be responsible for a statement of fact. Nowhere in the President's statement did he direct Parliament. The President did not direct Parliament. He cannot direct Parliament, and he did not. On top of saying with concurrence with the speakers, he asked that the houses then take cue and use their procedures to consider an adjournment. And that is what we are doing. It is easy, people like coming to just throw stones sometimes at the President, but we cannot allow that, because that is not what he did. And we saw our speakers there. I don't think they were being told off. But even in this house, we've lost friends. We've lost members in the National Assembly. Madam Speaker, we've lost many people. And so what we need to be talking about at this point is then how do we as leaders play our part in ensuring that the common mwananchi is safeguarded at this point. There are many areas that we need to look at. Madam Speaker, as we speak today, I am dealing with almost 4,000 Nairobians evicted in Njiru, Kware, ongoing demolitions during a pandemic, Madam Speaker. When you talk to those people and try to commiserate, they ask you which kind of government is it that is evicting us at this point. We need to be able to have our committees to look into that issue, Madam Speaker. And that is why I like Senator Ochilo Ayako's amendment. We need to be able to look at that, those demolitions in Njiru, in Kasarani constituency, in my county, Madam Speaker. We need to look at these people who have been in the, especially hospitality industry. The taxi drivers, the bouncers, the DJs, they need to be cushioned. Madam Speaker, I'd like to inform the House, I know my time is going as I finish. The bill that we did last year, the pandemic response and management bill, is still very much needed. It has been republished, and it has taken
1 minute.
Sorry, my county, not only is it just worst hit, Madam Speaker, but by virtue of the work we did, this bill is still very much needed. Remember when we were doing our oversight, we went around counties and we agreed on the number of ICU beds to be increased. Because we lowered our guard as a country, today there are no ICU beds. Last week I was struggling to find ICU beds for some Nairobians. Even talking to the CEO of Kenyatta University Hospital could not help, even the chair. So we need to pick up that bill again. I hope when we come back we can pass it now properly. We've agreed with the National Assembly how to deal with it, because we must know how to deal with the pandemic, because it is not a normal occurrence, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we need to make sure that the police are not harassing people in this area of lockdown, and my county is one of those areas. And that the flow of food, Nairobi, there is no agriculture going on in terms of that can feed the entire county. There's agriculture, but not the level that can feed the entire county. We need to make sure that flow of food is going on, and that when schools come back, the school feeding program is restarted, just as we had said before we've done this. So I support the adjournment of the House, Madam Speaker, and I hope that as chairs of committees, and I chair a committee as well, that we will not lower the guard of oversight, because any executive would not want a parliament that is oversighting them at this point. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Makori Beatrice Kwamboka.
Asante, Bi Speaker. Ningependa kuunga mkono hii mjadala ya kusitishwa kwa bunge hili mpaka mwezi ujao. Bi Speaker, ukweli kuna janga kubwa la corona na ni wakati mwafaka hili bunge tuende kwa likizo kidogo, na ambapo tutakuwa tukienda kwa likizo ni wakati wa kamati sana sana kama ya kamati ya afya ambayo mimi nashiriki hapo, tuweze kuangalia hizi vaccines ambazo zimekuja wakati huu, kama wananchi wa Kenya wanaweza kupata hizi vaccines kwa urahisi. Chanjo. Madam Speaker, unajua
Kwa Kiswahili
lazima,
kwa Kiswahili inaitwa chanjo.
Chanjo. Bi Speaker, ni vizuri pia tujifunze hiki Kiswahili, lazima tujivunie. Na kwa wakati huo, Bi Speaker, hizi kata ambazo rais wa nchi amesema kuwa ziwe kwenye lockdown, ni wakati muhimu hizo kata waweze kuangalia wafanyabiashara wale wadogo, wawache kuchukua ushuru kwa hao wafanyikazi, kwa sababu kazi zao zinafungwa wakati wa mapema, si kama kitambo. Na Bi Speaker, ni wakati kamati zetu zile ambazo zitakuwa zikihudumu kama kamati ya afya, wakati ambapo tunapomuita waziri lazima aelewe ya kuwa wakati huu ni wakati wa dharura. Lazima wananchi washughulikiwe na waweze pia kukuja kwenye kamati wajibu maswala ambayo utakayouliza. Bi Speaker, ningehimiza wakati tunapokwenda mashinani, hata sisi wabunge tuweze kuongea na wananchi wetu, tueleze manufaa ya chanjo hii. Waende wachukue chanjo na tuweze pia kukatiza zile mikutano ambazo tuko nazo katika maofisi. Bi Speaker, naunga mkono huu mjadala wa kusitishwa kwa bunge mpaka mwezi ujao. Asante sana Bi Speaker.
Kiswahili sanifu kweli. Senator Langat Christopher Andrew.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I would like also to congratulate Senator Kwamboka on matters to do with that language. Congratulations. So may I make my contribution to this particular motion as amended, Madam Speaker? It is so important that we make this particular serious move in our country, taking into account that our country is facing a very big challenge at the moment. More so is when it comes to our villages. This pandemic has really taken toll of most of the people. I want to say that in our county, for example, burial has really increased in number to the point that I had to inquire from our Ministry of Health in our county what was happening. It is interesting that even the reagents for testing this particular COVID, most of the counties are running short of it, and most of the dead are just getting buried as normal. The hospitals are not signaling people on those particular people who have died of COVID so that they can be handled differently. So we are in a very serious situation, Madam Speaker, and I want to say that I'm also happy that though adjournment is taking place, we still remain an oversight institution in this particular country. So the committees will continue doing their work seriously through virtual meetings, and sometimes, as it is in amendment, that wherever it calls for physical appearance on serious matters, it should be accommodated. I want to say that despite the fact that we understand the independence of this House, separation of powers as it is indicated in the Constitution, but nevertheless, we are talking about a serious matter that every one of us, right from the judiciary, not judiciary, from executive to legislative, we must take it seriously. Health is a very important matter, and I would like to encourage the government, Madam Speaker, to emphasize on two things at this particular moment. Testing must be increased to test most of the people, and also even for those who have died without the knowledge whether it is COVID or any other disease, they must be tested to ensure that if people are dying of COVID, they should be buried with caution, Madam Speaker. Another thing is vaccination. This one should be increased to make sure that most of our citizens are vaccinated. We are happy it has started with us as we are labeled as the super spreaders. That will really help our people. So I want to say that I support seriously this particular, is it finished? This particular motion with amendment, because it will help this country greatly. And also, I want to say that it is so important that we are still independent as an institution. That cannot be dictated from another quarter. So this amendment shows that we are still a powerful and independent institution that should be respected by other organs of the government. I support this particular amendment, motion with amendment, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Senator Masitsa Naomi Shionga.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to support this motion this afternoon as amended by the Senate. Madam Speaker, our country is right now struggling in managing the pandemic. And as it stands now, as leaders, we need to lead by example. Madam Speaker, the Senate, as leaders, we do not need to work hard to adopt anything that can assist this country and can assist our people. The COVID is here with us. The COVID has gone with the majority of our friends, majority of our people, and right now, you never know who can be a victim. As a start, we know that the president took his own initiative, and we should not misunderstand the president. The president has passed here as a member of parliament. And if he sits in the executive as the president of Kenya, it doesn't, we had nowhere where he said that he was directing the parliament. But as people were trying to put it, we are coming up with all this legislation because we understand that we need to make policies, and we need to make policies that can assist people of Kenya to evade this particular pandemic. And therefore, as we stand here, again, I want to urge the members that we adopt this motion of amendment and alteration of the calendar in an amended form, and urge the people of Kenya that we should be advisors of the president through legislation as our duty and a mandate. We have heard the president, and we have heard even from the most social medias or in our social medias, where people are not taking seriously this condition. It is very unfortunate that leaders are part of that. We need to actually move away from misleading the public as leaders. We need to be advisors in our communities, in our own country. But I want to urge also the president that as he considers this, the lockdown in the 5 counties, let him apply those incentives that he did to the country when it had a lockdown, especially in taxation areas, and even the banks. We need to urge those private partners that are now sucking our young youth people, that they need to desist from that. If we only jointly look at this pandemic that it has come to hit all of us, then we cannot be doing what the other companies are doing by sucking the young people, that because they really do not have what to keep them going in terms of a living. Also, Madam Speaker, I would like the president, if possible, to know that Kenyans in Nairobi, statistics and the 4 other counties, that the statistics are reality.
Order, Senator. I see an intervention from Senator Farhia.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I think let us reduce the time to 3 minutes because I think there's a lot of still interest and time is not on our side and there are so many businesses still to transact in the house. If that is possible, and I want Senator Komboka to second me with your permission.
Madam Speaker.
Senator Olekina.
Madam Speaker, I had to stand and question my good sister, but I think we should be, this is a house of record, and I think my sister should have quoted the standing order, and also our standing orders are quite clear, that before the commencement of any motion, that is when a senator can rise and seek for a limitation of time. Just standing and saying, I think we should, is not really appropriate. So I think, in my view, it would be proper if we were to talk about adjournment and we're discussing, let's allow senators to be able to express their views because we don't know whether they are supporting or not supporting. This is a matter which you still have to go on division. So, Madam Speaker, I would just want to request that when my colleagues stand, they have to remember that when the motion was being moved, it was quite clear that this motion will proceed, until it is completed, So I think it would be proper for us to allow senators to address the matters, and we maintain, our standing orders. Let's follow them to the letter. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Naomi, can you try to conclude?
Madam Speaker, I wish with the interruption that was there, I get my time and even plus, because this is a very important motion we are discussing about. And we cannot be thinking about any other matter in this country currently. And I feel so bad when people want to come up with other issues that are important to themselves and not important as the COVID right now in this country. COVID is more important than any other thing. If we are discussing about life and death, allow us to discuss it now. Madam Speaker, I want to continue or conclude by saying that we have had the counties of this country, some counties misusing the COVID money. We have had some individuals being billionaires of this COVID money. I want to take this time and say that I stand with the Senate Health Committee, with the policies that they passed in this House, that it can adopt it and they can bring that meeting here, that report here, we adopt it so that it becomes part of the legislation in this country so that we can tame some of those avenues that people are misusing such important funds in this country. Madam Speaker, I want to conclude again by saying that we have had the media or the Minister of Health call for people, some of the companies or people or some of the facilities to return the gas cylinders, which are part of the commodities that are supposed to assist in averting the deaths in this country through COVID-19. I want to urge those partners or those people or those facilities that are holding the gas cylinders, please let us be considerate of other individuals in this country that need to use those gas cylinders so that they can be filled, because we know the gas or the gas that is filled into those containers is important right now and is one of the important commodity in this country right now as the country is experiencing the pandemic. Madam Speaker, I will leave this time for other members to contribute, and I thank you very, very much. And I want to say again and conclude that this matter is important. It is not a matter of any other business, but this matter needs to be discussed, even if it means midnight. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Milgo Alice Chepkori.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this chance to also support this motion as amended. And I want to say that the president of this country did not actually direct Parliament as many people have alluded, because I listened to their speech myself, and he had said he was requesting the two speakers from the two houses to actually check, or rather settle down and discuss with the members of parliament so that they can amend accordingly. Madam Speaker, our country is in a very challenging period right now. We are losing very many people, and the ones that are being recorded are even fewer, because in most cases sometimes we have had deaths and nobody has ever known whether that was COVID-19. Madam Speaker, as the President said, despite the fact that this House has a lot of work, it is important to choose life as opposed to actually imagining that our economy will go down, because without healthy people, the economy will still remain very low. Madam Speaker, I want to say that now that the committees will have a leeway to be able to continue with their work virtually, and in extreme conditions, they can even, in this case, meet physically, although in this case, they must ensure that they follow COVID rules. I think this is this motion then shall go a long way to ensure that we contain this particular spread of COVID-19. We are seeing that the numbers are rising. It is just recently when we were told that the percentage is at 20%. Just yesterday we are being told it is 26%. Nobody knows. Maybe by the close of business today, we'll be told that it is over 30%. And in this case, we all know that as more and more patients become affected with COVID-19, we have our health facilities being overstretched. We'll have the government facilities not being able to contain. And for that reason, I think altering our calendar is a way we'll set an example to the rest of the country to know that this is a very serious matter. Madam Speaker, this amended form will further actually enhance the work of the committees, more specifically the Health Committee. I think a few minutes ago we were told that some 241 billion shillings has gone out to COVID issues. And in any case, because of the fact that our ad hoc committee on COVID was in this case came to a conclusion, what it is that we need the Health Committee to take up the challenge and ensure that they work in the same way as the COVID committee did, because during that time you could follow very seriously about thematic matters that they had set up, and they were able to inform us what is happening in security, what is happening even based on social issues. And in this case, there is nothing wrong if Health Committee will be able to take up that and then be able to tell us how much money now is going to the counties, or even how much of this 2.1 billion was used in the national government and where has it gone to. Madam Speaker, I want to actually support this particular motion based on the fact that these counties that are being locked down, in fact, the numbers were so high, so that although we are saying maybe there is still a lot of COVID going on in other counties, I think these 5 counties were having a serious challenge, and would have wished if there was any ability by the government, in this case, to ensure that there is very serious testing in these counties. In addition to that, a lot of vaccination to take place, and for that matter, people being ensured that they take up the vaccination. It is a challenge that, Madam Speaker, when we saw 1 million vaccines, we thought it was going to end in just less than 1 month, but then people are taking it and approaching it with a lot of caution. We want to encourage people that vaccination is important. Without vaccination, very many people will die, and we want to encourage that wherever those countries that have already received the vaccine should be able to take up that vaccine. We also want to encourage the government to further actually look at the very needy and vulnerable people in the 5 counties.
Senator Ndwiga Peter Njeru.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this time I want to support the motion as amended, and Mr. Speaker, also join my colleagues, those of us who actually listened to the address of the president, because the president did not, and I want to support Senator Milk, the president did not order parliament. The president suggested that parliament should look at its timetable and see where it could fit if and suggesting that if they could recess, it would be good. And he suggested the same also for the judiciary. Madam Speaker, people are very quick to judge, sometimes without fast reasoning as to and weighing the source of the information they get. Being a president, Madam Speaker, is not easy. You have to balance between economy and the lives of your people. And it is in that respect, Madam Speaker, that the president did suggest that the counties which have been overwhelmed by this disease be locked down for some time. I'm very happy. I know people have seen that they should have given the period, said what period it is that he has locked down these places. Madam Speaker, normally he locks down 1 month or 2 months. This time he didn't. And I am very sure, Madam Speaker, that the fear of the government was that during this Easter period, people are going to frolic and merry-make and spread this disease wildly. So I will not be surprised. I'm not sure, it's not that I know, I'm not be surprised if the president after Easter says now you can go back to your normal business, and I hope he does that. Madam Speaker, my worry is that those of us who go outside Nairobi, and even when you have curfew and all these other requirements of the Ministry of Health, the behavior of Kenyans out there is far from what you would expect a people in the midst of an epidemic to be behaving. Madam Speaker, you go to our counties, you go to our markets, people are walking without masks. In the evening, Madam Speaker, when it is curfew time, the police are busy with bar owners locking bars and collecting whatever stipends they can collect from bar owners, and they're the least concerned about the curfew and the implications of health of the people. So, Madam Speaker, I am now requesting the police to also, or the administration, the provincial administration in our counties, to up their acts, so that, Mr. Speaker, we stop the escalation of this pandemic. You look at matatus, Madam Speaker, and only last week, I did see a matatu that had matatu meant to carry 13 people. It must have been carrying more than 26 people. And it had just passed through a police roadblock. Madam Speaker, how many people are we going to kill in this country so that we can understand that the proceeds of corruption will not help? And Madam Speaker, those policemen who are letting these things happen, I am sure some of them have been affected, if not infected by the disease. And I do hope that, Mr. Speaker, although you cannot wish this thing on anybody, I do hope, Madam Speaker, that they will be grown up enough to know that this pandemic is bad for the entire country, is bad enough even for themselves. Madam Speaker,
Senator Cherargei Samson Kiprotich.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity. Madam Speaker, two things, or three, because in the interest of time, is one, I will not be in the business of defending the president. I think he has enough defenders on what he said or what he meant. One, there are many reservations that the president did lock 5 counties, which is over 10 million, slightly thereabout Kenyans. Two things that the president failed or deliberately failed to tell Kenyans. One is how we will cushion the vulnerable. Because, Madam Speaker, according to Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, in 2020, during the first wave of COVID, 1.7 million Kenyans lost their jobs. And these are mambambogas, the waiters, the waiteress, the people who sell mahindi choma, the people who are low-income families. The president did not provide a cushion safety net to these families that they are suffering, Madam Speaker. And therefore, that is very sad, and we would have expected the president to learn one or two things since the incept of COVID pandemic. Number two, Madam Speaker, most of these matatus that ply within these lockdown counties, most of them, Madam Speaker, are matatus that are borrowed loans. These cars are using loans, Madam Speaker, and yet the president, you remember the issue of tax relief, tax exemption, loan restructuring, Madam Speaker, was done away with. So we would have expected the government, Madam Speaker, to order commercial banks and other money lending institutions to restructure loan, especially to the people that have borrowed. Remember, Madam Speaker, even these eateries, these establishments that we have, hospitality industry, most of them are running on loan borrowing, Madam Speaker, and you would have expected that they should be tax reliefs, they should be tax exemptions, they should be the way Governor Mutua of Machakos have done. And I think, Madam Speaker, that is the way to try and cushion Kenyans, especially through loan restructuring. Madam Speaker, the fourth point I want to make is on the mass testing and vaccinations. We received 1.2 million thereabout vaccines, where around 100,000 Kenyans have been vaccinated as we talk today, Madam Speaker. The president has not requested for supplementary money from the National Assembly so that he can be able to fight. Madam Speaker, we should be able to vaccinate free of charge. Every 47.5 million Kenyans, Madam Speaker, must be given free of charge vaccination, be it the one that comes from Russia, AstraZeneca, or Moderna from US, so that all Kenyans can have an opportunity to receive free vaccination. That is 47.5 million. What is the master plan? Even as we today agree that we might go on adjournment or not, what is the exit strategy? The strategy, Madam Speaker, will not be about lockdowns and curfews. You are just delaying the spread of COVID. But what is the master plan that the executive has that needs complementary support from the judiciary and parliament going into the future, Madam Speaker? Madam Speaker, that is why as parliament, even as we go on recess, we have agreed that the committees can function. But I want to challenge the health committee that even when we come on occasionally back to the House, they should be able to provide timely updates on interventions, on the master plan, on the way out, except and about. If I saw a bishop from Peva Church, knows that you have more better opportunities, more other strategies than lockdowns and curfews, Madam Speaker. And therefore, I want to challenge the president that this is the right time to provide leadership. They say, I think there is a saying by the former Prime Minister of Britain, that the person who matters is the person who is on the ring, who has sweat, who has the blood, and who is in the thick of things. And that is when leadership needs. The fourth point, Madam Speaker, I want to make is on the police brutality. I want to ask the police, even as they implement lockdowns and curfews, this is not a license of human rights abuses. You remember Kenya was singled out during the first wave of pandemic, that more people were being killed by police brutality than even the COVID itself. So, Madam Speaker, I want to challenge the police that they should stop this police brutality. Madam Speaker, I thank you for giving me this opportunity to contribute on this motion.
Senator Mudhama Agnes Kavindu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to support this altered calendar of the Senate. I want to say, first of all, I think when the president wrote what he wrote or said what he said, he did not command, but gave a suggestion that the House can discuss, and that's why we are discussing it, Madam Speaker. And I want to say we should, even as we go on this session, we should think also of how our people are going to be protected. I just finished my campaigns, Madam Speaker, as you know, and most of the people in the villages cannot even afford a mask, cannot even afford a sanitizer. Even if we are doing whatever we are doing, we should also think of how the counties will supply these people with masks, sanitizers, and also educate them on how to take precautions, because majority of them are just ignorant. And also, most of them now, as we speak now, are saying that they have no food even to eat, they have nothing to use. So we should think of all those things, even as we think of the 214 billion that my fellow senator talked about. And with this kind of money, we should, our people should be able to get the vaccines that they need, and they should also get the masks and the sanitizers, even as we educate on them. Madam Speaker, with this, I support this changed motion. Thank you.
Senator Inima Gertrude.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to support this motion in its amended form. And I must tell Kenyans that I want to commend the President for his statement, and it must be very clear that the President's statement was not an obligatory, statement when he was actually talking about Parliament. It was very clear that the President knows very well the role of the tripartite arm of government in ensuring the smooth running of the country. And that is why the statement he made was actually a request that he requested the two speakers to see how this can be fast-tracked. And if Kenyans can remember very well and flash back, it is very clear that the President came up with a raft of measures when Corona first came, simply because he really empathized with Kenyans and wanted to see how Kenyans can very well be helped through these Corona issues. So it must be very clear in the minds of Kenyans and everyone else, and even parliamentarians, that the President was actually well-meaning and wanted and still wants Parliament to work together in this talk of Corona. And it was very clear also that the President was able to walk his talk. He ensured that he even went for the jab together with his family. And this is really, a message to Kenyans that COVID is real. We must be alive to the fact that, yes, it is real, and we have to see how to protect ourselves, our loved ones, and also Kenyans. And I want to say, Honorable Speaker, that as even we are addressing the issue of COVID, the amendment in this House is for the purpose of ensuring service delivery to Kenyans. Honorable Speaker, it is very clear that committees are obligated to take issues and pursue issues that come to Parliament for the purpose of ensuring that we are actually feeding Kenyans and we are even listening to Kenyans. And Honorable Speaker, the issue of virtual meetings, in the Senate is very good, because it will help also parliamentarians listen to what Kenyans are saying and see how to help Kenyans, Honorable Speaker. And I know, even as I stand here, persons with disabilities, wherever they are, they're really wondering what will become of them. And I know that questions will come to this House to see how persons with disabilities can be cushioned, can be helped during this time. And Honorable Speaker, I want to suggest also, even as we talk about the long recess, it would be paramount also for persons with disabilities to be considered in getting the jab, Honorable Speaker, because they are also vulnerable, and they can easily, succumb to COVID, Honorable Speaker. And these are some of the questions we'll be asking in the Zoom meetings. What are county governments actually doing to ensure that persons with disabilities are cushioned, Honorable Speaker? So I want to say that I support this motion in its amended form, and I believe that the tripartite arm of the government will work together in ensuring that we combat the issue of coronavirus, Honorable Speaker. Thank you for the opportunity.
Senator Olekena, I'm told you already, it is on record that you did debate in the main motion, so you cannot speak to it again. So I proceed to call in Senator Chebeni. Mercy Chebeni.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I also rise to support the motion as amended to alter our calendar. I think it's a very important motion given the situation we are in. The third wave is not very pleasing and we need to take necessary precautions, Madam Speaker. But Madam Speaker, as a House, we have a duty to represent and undertake our oversight mandate. And as we are all aware that majority of our work is done under the committee level, and I'm glad that we are able now to continue with our virtual meetings, Madam Speaker, for oversight reasons. Madam Speaker, as you're aware, a lot of bills are still pending at the committee stage, and therefore it is very important that committees are able to undertake this critical mandate and ensure that these bills are passed. Madam Speaker, we have seen rather hard testimonies from our fellow senators who have gone through the COVID, and it's only wise that we therefore adjourn, Madam Speaker, so that we don't spread it among ourselves and also to our constituents, Madam Speaker. Therefore, Madam Speaker, I really think all of us should support this motion. Madam Speaker, I am seated next to Senator Kasanga, and she was just telling me that the Auditor General report on COVID funds was tabled here, and the mandate was given to the Health Committee to take a look at it and provide a report in this House, Madam Speaker. Therefore, it's very important that the Committee on Health take this matter seriously. We need to know how the funds were utilized. We need to understand where the funds went, how many ICU beds are there, how many, how are oxygen availed at our hospitals. And therefore, it's very important that the committee sits to look into the report and to look into the report of the Auditor General and give this House a better report on how the funds were utilized. Madam Speaker, I really support this motion, and I thank you.
I see no further requests, and I therefore call in the mover to reply. Senator Wamatangi.
Madam Speaker, I want to take the opportunity to thank members, Madam Speaker, for their contribution on this motion in its amended version. Madam Speaker, to note that probably for clarification and to ensure that there is no contradiction in the thoughts and minds of Kenyans, those who watched and followed, Madam Speaker, the passion by members of this House to have a say on how the lives of their people will be cared for in these trying times and tough times of COVID, Madam Speaker. The amendment brought about by Senator Ochilo Ayako and supported by all members on both sides of the House, Madam Speaker, is evidence that members are passionate about how the lives of Kenyans, whom they represent, and Madam Speaker, for avoidance of doubt, it is important to put it on record that indeed the only people who have a direct mandate on the question and say of how the health and lives of our people will be are elected members, and these members of this House fall in that category, Madam Speaker. Various suggestions have been made, and Madam Speaker, noteworthy of those suggestions is, for example, Madam Speaker, the thought that we should see this pandemic not as a one-off thing, and the plans that government has got in mitigating and ameliorating the concerns and the condition of Kenyans should be long-term. Thinking, Madam Speaker, for example, if we look at how we have dealt with the pandemic of HIV/AIDS, Madam Speaker, and since the 1980s, when the first cases of HIV/AIDS were detected in the country, up to today, Kenyans are still suffering from the same ravages of that virus. That, Madam Speaker, may be an implication, it may be a pointer that probably COVID will be here to stay and stay long. And so, Madam Speaker, I want to laud the good thoughts by senators that government must think beyond tomorrow. Government must be thinking beyond the lockdown and beyond curfew and beyond adjournment of houses, Madam Speaker, so that then we would be asking ourselves, how do we address this situation without necessarily waiting for external help to be what is going to be our solution, Madam Speaker. I want to thank members also for their suggestions here, Madam Speaker, that in case there is any situation that may arise that will require members of this House to appear here in this House immediately and pass resolutions, Madam Speaker, that window is left open, that right and privilege of members of this House is not curtailed in any way, Madam Speaker. And indeed, the continued discussion and engagement of members of this House through committees will further enhance and ensure, cushion Kenyans, such that, Madam Speaker, whatever continues to happen can be debated by committees of this House, Madam Speaker. Indeed, as I conclude, Madam Speaker, I think it would be important, as we continue with our discussion, that we ask ourselves, how do we want to rest the case of our ad hoc committee on COVID-19? Is it time we rethought the idea of reintroducing, Madam Speaker, a specific committee that would be looking at the continued way we are dealing with COVID-19 as a country, Madam Speaker? And I want to remind Kenyans, Madam Speaker, that indeed there are countries who suffered worse than we have suffered. But as of today, they have managed to contain the pandemic. And you would go around countries, Madam Speaker, in Asia, specifically a country like China itself, where this virus is said to have emanated from. But they are proud to say that they have dealt with the pandemic to an extent that they can say that the infection rates are almost negligible. That is what we should be aiming to do, Madam Speaker, and the culture of continuing to ensure that continued discipline and personal discipline in dealing with COVID-19 must be the emphasis of the health sector of this country, Madam Speaker, and even of government. And as I allowed the actions that has been taken by the Ministry of Health in the various moves that they have done, Madam Speaker, in putting up a fight against the virus, and also the action taken by the executive, the various and periodic updates that have been given, actions by His Excellency the President to ensure that he continually informs this country. And indeed, there are the leaders, Madam Speaker, who have been forefront. And I want to take the opportunity, Madam Speaker, to even thank members of this House. Because if you look at many platforms of social media, you can see several senators whose photos appear taking the vaccine, Madam Speaker, taking the jab. And we lead by example. And I'm sure, as most Kenyans first had doubt, that are we ourselves taking the jab to show that, Madam Speaker, some of those rumors that were there out in the first place, that should be ignored. I want to allow those members that have taken the vaccine and urge the ones who have not, please do. And in conclusion, Madam Speaker, to say that because we have been told even when we went to take the vaccination, that you'll have to take about 3 for you to attain levels that would be said medically to mitigate the effects of COVID-19 in case you got infected, Madam Speaker. We'll be thinking about those Kenyans who cannot afford to put a meal on their table today, Madam Speaker. And ask ourselves, what are we saying about them when they themselves have to deal with the same fate, with the same tragedy, with the same problem that we as members of parliament, with the privileges that we have, that are facing? What will happen to that person in Mukuru slums, Madam Speaker? What will happen? What is the hope that we are giving to the person in Obunga slums in Kisumu, Madam Speaker? What are we telling Kenyans, Madam Speaker, who are expecting to have not only hope, but solutions, Madam Speaker? And that's why I want to laud the House. I want to laud members who have contributed to this motion, Madam Speaker, and urge all of us to stay vigilant, be wide-eyed, open, and, Madam Speaker, urge members to be ready to stand and act when necessary to ensure that we save and salvage our country and put COVID-19 behind and get to move our economy and our country and the work that we do forward, Madam Speaker. I reply, and Madam Speaker, I submit. I move, Madam Speaker.
I now put the question that notwithstanding the resolutions of the Senate made on 16th February 2021, approval of the Senate calendar, and on 24th March 2021, alteration of the Senate calendar, pursuant to Standing Orders 29-4, the Senate resolves to further alter the Senate calendar, regular sessions of the Senate in respect of Part 2, so as to adjourn on Tuesday 30th March 2021 and to resume sittings on Tuesday 11th May 2021 in accordance with the resolution made on 24th March 2021, provided that select committees of the Senate continue to hold virtual meetings pursuant to Standing Order 251A, and where necessary hold physical meetings in absolute and strict compliance with COVID-19 protocols, and that pursuant to Standing Orders 31(3)A and B, the morning sitting of Tuesday 30th March 2021 be held until conclusion of business appearing on the order paper. As many of that opinion say aye. Aye. As many of the contrary opinion say nay, the ayes have it. Let's move to the next order.
Order number 11, motion, approval of senator to serve in the Senate Business Committee.
Madam Speaker, I raise to move the motion that pursuant to Standing Orders 184(1)D and 189(3), that the Senate approves the nomination of Senator Justice Retired Stewart Mazayo, MP, to serve in the Senate Business Committee and replace Senator Cleophas Malala, MP. Madam Speaker, is it okay? Madam Speaker, I move. Madam Speaker, I will request the minority leader to second.
Mr. Speaker, this motion is understandable, and without further ado, I second.
Honorable Senators, I now propose the question, which is that pursuant to Standing Order 181(a)(d) and 189(3), the Senate approves the nomination of Senator Justice Retired Stewart Manzayo, MP, to serve in the Senate Business Committee to replace Senator Cleophas Malala, MP. Honorable Senators, no interest. I now proceed to put the question, which is that pursuant to Standing Order 184(1)D and 189(3), the Senate approves the nomination of Senator Justice Retired Stewart Manzayo, MP, to serve in the Senate Business Committee to replace Senator Cleophas Malala, MP. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 12, motion, approval of senators to serve in the sessional committees.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to move a motion to move the motion that pursuant to standing orders number 189, 219, 220, and 221, that the Senate approves the following senators nominated in the Senate Business Committee to serve in the sessional committees of the Senate as follows. A, the Committee on Public Accounts and Investments. 1, Senator Engineer Hagura Godana, MP. 2, Senator Njeru Ndwiga, EGH MP. 3, Senator Aidan Dulo Fatuma, CBS MP. Senator Kimani Matangi, MP. Senator Dr. Christopher Langat, MP. Senator Dr. Ochilo Ayako, EGH MP. Senator Professor Imana Malakai Ekal, Charles Ekal, MP. Senator Jones Maruma, MP. And Senator Mercy Chebeni, MP. B, Mr. Speaker, Committee on Delegated Legislation. 1, Senator Anwar Loitiptip, MP. 2, Senator Samuel Lesuron Pogisho, EGH MP. 3, Senator Faria Haji Ali, MP. 4, Senator Mary Yane Senator, MP. 5, Senator Halaka Bishiro, MP. 6, Senator Agnes Kavindu Mudama, MP. 7, Senator Judith Pareno, MP. 8, Senator Eric Okongo Mogeni, SC MP. 9, Senator Munyihaji Mohamed Faki MP. Mr. Speaker, I move and request the...
Order, honorable senators, you consult in low tones.
I request Senator Kwamboka to second.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to second this motion on the approval of the senators to serve in sessional committees, the Committee on County Public Accounts and Investments, and the Committee on Delegated Legislation. Mr. Speaker, this is a high time that, indeed, we need these committees to have their meetings because they are late. This is the right time. Things must move on. And according to the members who have been nominated to serve to these committees, I know they are up to task and they are going to do justice to this committee. And Mr. Speaker, I second this motion.
Honorable senators, I now propose the question, which is that pursuant to standing orders number 189, 219, 220, and 221, the Senate approves the following senators nominated by the Senate Business Committee to serve in sessional committees of the Senate as follows. A, the Committee on County Public Accounts and Investments, Senator Engineer Hargura Godana MP, Senator Njeru Ndwiga EGH MP, Senator Adan Dulo Fatuma CBS MP, Senator Kimani Wamatangi MP, Senator Dr. Christopher Langat MP, Senator Dr. Oshilo Ayako EGH MP, Senator Professor Imana Malaki Charles Ikal MP, Senator Jones Maruma MP, Senator Mercy Chebeni MP. B, Committee on Delegated Legislation. Senator Anwar Loitiptip MP, Senator Samuel Losuron Pogisho EGH MP, Senator Faria Haji Ali MP, Senator Mary Yane Senator MP, Senator Halaki Abshiro MP, Senator Agnes Kavindu Mudama MP, Senator Judith Pareno MP, Senator Senator Eric Okongo Omogeni, Senior Counsel MP, Senator Mwinyihaji Mohamed Faki MP. Honorable Senators, I don't see any request or interest to contribute on the motion. I now proceed to put the question. Honorable Senators, I now put the question, which is that pursuant to standing orders number 189, 219, 220, 221, the Senate approves the following senators nominated by the Senate Business Committee to serve in the sessional committees of the Senate as follows. A, Committee on County Public Accounts and Investments. 1, Senator Engineer Hargura Godana MP, Senator Jerun Biga AGH MP, Senator Adan Dulo Fatuma CBS MP, Senator Kimani Wamatangi MP, Senator Dr. Christopher Langat MP, Senator Dr. Oshilo Ayako EGH MP, Senator Professor Imana Malaki Charles Ikal MP, Senator Jones Maruma MP, Senator Mercy Chebeni MP. B, Committee on Delegated Legislation, Senator Anwar Loitiptip MP, Senator Samuel Osron Pogisho MP, EGH MP, Senator Faria Haji Ali MP, Senator Mary Yane Senator MP, Senator Halaki Abshiro MP, Senator Agnes Kavindu Mudhama MP, Senator Junit Pareno MP, Senator Eric Okongo Omogeni Senior Council MP, Senator Mwinyi Mohamed Faki MP. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order. Senator Sylvia Kasanga, please approach the chair. Order, honorable senators. Now I order that we rearrange the order paper and the clerks on the table to call order number 7.
Order number 7, statements.
Order, honorable senators. Now the clerks have called order number 7. Now, pursuant to state that order, that is order part B, pursuant to standing order 48-1. Na huyu alikuwa wapi? Senator Omanga.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I've got two statements. One I'll just read through so that, Mr. Speaker, you can commit it to a committee. Then the second one, the members can contribute to it because it's a current issue. Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 48.1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Roads and Transport on the alleged misuse of funds by Kenya National Highways Authority, the Kenya Rural Roads Authority, and the Kenya Urban Roads Authority. In the statement, the committee should, one, provide further information on the allegations of financial misappropriation amounting to Kenya shillings 142 billion as contained in the Auditor General's report 2019 by the three roads agencies that received funding from the Ministry of Transport, Infrastructure, Housing, Urban Development and Public Works, Kenya, Kera, and Kura. Number two, state the plans in place to ensure that roads built by Kenya, Kera, and Kura are appropriately marked and all road furniture and signage put in place. And finally, outline measures laid down to ensure all those involved in the embezzlement are held accountable. The second statement, it's still pursuant to Standing Order 48.1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget. In the statement, the committee should state plans put in place to cushion Kenyans from different job group sectors who have been rendered jobless due to the partial lockdown put in place by government. Two, the report on plans laid down to ensure banks restructure loans repayment periods to millions of Kenyans affected by the partial lockdown. Finally, outline safety net measures put in place by government to ensure negative socioeconomic impact of the COVID-19 does not further dampen Kenya's economic growth in 2021. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Ledama Olekina.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise
Order,
pursuant
honorable
to
senators. You know, I'm following
Standing
the
Order
schedule
51,
here as
1A.
Senator Olekina. You have a request. Are you contributing the statement? Contributing the statement read?
No, I'm reading my statement. Do you want me to contribute to the statement?
Order. We first give a few.
Yes, I can contribute to the statement.
Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise to support the statement raised by Senator Omanga on the issue of misappropriation of funds in the transport sector. Mr. Speaker, I traverse this country called Kenya, and in most cases, you see a lot of development going to central Kenya. And you ask yourself, why is it that all parts of Kenya are not getting the money? So when you hear a senator...
Order, Honorable Senator Kanganta.
When you hear...
Senator Kanganta, you're on your feet when you are, and you have not requested whether you...
Thank you. Mr. Speaker...
Order, Senator Kanganta. You follow the procedures.
Wait. Omanga.
Order, senators.
Mr. Speaker, can I finish? Because it will only be 3 minutes, and I'll give my colleague time to add.
Senator Sharage, what's your intervention?
No, Mr. Speaker, is it in order for Senator Ledama Olekina, if I heard correct, to isolate one region by saying all the developments are going to central Kenya? He should substantiate, because we wouldn't want it's a serious allegation. We wouldn't want Kenyans to believe, Mr. Speaker, that one region is only benefiting from developments of government. I wish you would give us the necessary facts and figures so that we don't create rumor mongering within the country.
Senator Ledama Olekina, you substantiate or you withdraw your statement?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I never just utter words for the sake of it. You know, facts are very stubborn. And I'm standing here to support a statement sought by a distinguished senator on misappropriation of funds. When, and I hope to school my dear colleague here in terms of statement, when a senator rises, when a senator rises to seek for clarification.
Order, Charagay.
I've already, through the speaker.
Order, Senator.
Relax.
Ledama, order, Senator Ledama. Address the chair.
Mr. Speaker, when a distinguished senator, Senator Millicent Omanga, rose and sought a statement and stated clearly that she'd like some clarification in terms of misappropriation of funds, I rose and I said, I traversed this country called Kenya, and I've seen a lot of development. I'm from Narok, and I'm not seeing the road being expanded to Narok. Last week, Mr. Speaker, I drove to Marsabit, and I was quite perplexed and mesmerized by the number of development going into central Kenya. So these are facts, you know, and anybody who's got eyes can actually clearly be able to see. So when a senator rises to seek a statement, we are given time to contribute, to be able to seek clarity. So when you commit this statement to a committee, what I'd like to get more clarity is on the percentage of development that is being skewed towards central Kenya. Actually, maybe the best way to ask for that is that it would be proper for us to get an itemized list of development projects which are being spread countrywide. Then maybe then, my dear colleague, Senator Cherargei, who I respect very much, would not say that I'm only rumor mongering. These are facts, because I've been able to see myself. Mr. Speaker, I know you come from Samburu. If you drive to Samburu through HS Post, you pass Kennel, and you go all the way through Kirinyaga, all the way to Laikipia County, you'll be mesmerized by the number of development which are going to that side. So when we're here, I'm happy, Mr. Speaker, that this statement has been sought by my colleague. So what I'd like the committee to do is to go further and request that we are given an itemized list of all the development projects which are going across the entire 47 counties. It would be good for us to know, under Article 96 of the Constitution, Mr. Speaker, we sit in this House to defend the interests of our counties and our government, and the county governments. So we want to know, because, you know, earlier on, when I stood here, I indicated clearly that this country called Kenya has received over 214 billion shillings in terms of fighting COVID. But only 3.7% of that money, 7 billion, has gone to the county governments. So what business are we going to be transacting here if we cannot be able to question? So, Mr. Speaker, for us to be able to get clarity, it will be proper that when you commit that statement, hopefully to the Committee on Roads, and I can see my dear colleague is consulting with the chair of roads, that we can actually be able to get, you know, to be able to know how much of the development projects in terms of roads went to Samburu County, how much went to Narok County. You know, we cannot just be sitting here and saying we are happy with what is going to county government from the Division of Revenue, you know, or from the CARA. It's peanuts. You know, Mr. Speaker, you know what perplexes me is that you have 214 billion in COVID funds, and people are spread across the 47 counties, but the 47 counties only get 7 billion. So these are things that we must ask, and we must get those answers. If we don't get those answers today, if we don't demand for those answers today, then who is going to demand it? Then we might as well just go home and lament like all other Kenyans do. So, Mr. Speaker, without wasting more time, I want to thank Senator Omanga for this statement, and I hope that we will get answers. And hopefully, the details that I can see she's giving the chair of transport, who is also the whip, And I know he's a man who is diligent, especially when it comes to the issue of the green note. We can be able to get real answers. So, Mr. Speaker, I support.
Order, honorable senators. We are now on that statement as issued by Senator Omanga, and I see clarification from Senator Cherargei. Are you ready to contribute or to give your statement?
Mr. Speaker, I wanted to contribite.
Proceed.
Okay.
Senator Cherargei.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. These were, and I want to support the statement by Senator Omanga, and I'm happy today Senator Omanga has raised very serious issues that all hustlers across the country will be following keenly. Madam Speaker, Mr. Speaker, sorry, what I would want to say is these two things
Order,
only.
honorable senators, consulting law tones. Senator Millicent Omanga.
Mr. Speaker, is it in order for Senator from Nandi to say today Senator Omanga has raised pertinent issues? And Mr. Speaker, as you know, I'm a very active member. I have several bills and motions in this house. I would want Senator Cherargei to withdraw and actually admit that I've got quite a number of motions and bills and statements and petitions, more than any other member in this house. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator
Speaker,
Cherargei, proceed.
Mr. Speaker, I say today. I have not said you are not an active member through you, Speaker, and I'm happy that the Nairobi delegation is doing very well. Mr. Speaker, two things that I want to make an observation, and I want to request that the committee that this matter would be referred to also increase, ask the government what issues, especially subsidies, they are given to farmers. You remember, Mr. Speaker, according to 2018-2019, and 2019, around 2019-2020, as farmers, we were able to harvest 39.8 million bags of maize in this country. Mr. Speaker, it is very important that we need to give incentive to farmers, even in Samburu, who are doing livestock business. We need farmers who are planting maize, tea, so that even as we look at the lockdown and curfews, my worry, Mr. Speaker, is that the inflation might rise. And when it rises, it means it will affect the food prices. So, Mr. Speaker, in that line of statement, the committee that you refer to, I would request that issues of agriculture be factored in, especially in the issues of maize, where we depend largely. And I know Senator Naomi Shionga, who is the chairperson of NCIC, and my neighbor, they rely heavily on maize, and we are the major suppliers. So, Mr. Speaker, let us look also at the subsidies that we have put in place. And finally, Mr. Speaker, I have agreed with her on the loan restructuring issues. Most of the startup businesses, and I want to thank Senator Sakaja, he had a bill called Startup Bill that was assisting small enterprises, SMEs. So where is the place of SMEs as we try and bring them back to business? Mr. Speaker, you know most of them have shut down because all of them are depending on loans, are depending on grants and donations. But because of SMEs, Mr. Speaker, we would want to be told the startup businesses, how are they doing? The SMEs, what are they doing? Apart from agriculture, Mr. Speaker, I think there are many young people in Nairobi streets across our counties who have small business of 20,000 kiosks. We need also to be told what the government is doing to cushion them, because even if the government does not have an idea, they should consult Senator Sakaja and his bill so that they can be able to assist many young people that we have in this country. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Senators, as you can note from the order paper, we have a series of statements, and we wish to read some of them before we adjourn. So kindly limit your contributions to 3 minutes. Senator Christopher Langat.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for also giving me this opportunity to support this very important statement from Senator Millicent. And I don't want to be like Cherargei. I want to say it's one of the most important ones you've been making. Mr. Speaker, I want to say that I support it in the fact that I would also like to highlight on some areas that they are seriously affected by the COVID-19, and the people working in those sectors, Mr. Speaker, are really suffering. Yesterday, I was listening to the chairman of transport